let's go into this style right now too, with Battison at the point as is Raze. I'm okay with it, Lemon Kiwi, because I think Battison in the past, I think about them being very excellent as a chamber on Pearl in the past, for example. But I think here, when it comes down to firepower and somebody that needs to lead the way and lead the charge for the attack, I think it's nice to have Battison in this duelist role.
Yeah, Battison has been excellent on entries, and when we go to Summit, I mean, they were 8-1 on those first kills to first deaths. So Lotus, though, is going to be Cloud9's playground, and none other than Marceline on the Neon, one of the best ones that we have in GC. Again, I'm stunned to even see the level of talent that we have in this matchup in round 7. The stakes are high. The loser will not be going to the main event, and the GCC dreams die here. 2 prestigious orgs joining us as well. They've recognized the level of skill that we have here. So Cloud9, this is your most practiced map. If you can't convert this one, the series may just go SOTR's way, like you said, based on just map set and comfort.
Exactly. So now the big test as well for SOTRs is that, okay, well, you might have like a throwaway map being Lotus in this matchup here. So with this comp, we'll see if it works out. And they're going to test things, at least for Cloud9, at the beginning of this round by adding a lot of pressure on this A side, and to try to see for Lily if there's going to be an aggressive push out of SOTR for mid control. SOTR, although, are taking C Mountain to start, so that is an opening for C9 to start taking.
Lily has only played Fade for the past 3 months. Like an absolute master at the initiate. You can trust her to play solo. You'll trust her to kind of keep an eye on the walk down at B, but already sensing some trouble at C. You don't even need to look at it to know that you just need to work the right side of the map. Already hearing those footsteps, Marceline loud and proud. The pistol round, Cloud9 set pace towards the A site. An immediate plant, immediate double jump up the ropes, and Invert is overwhelmed, isolated by the smoke. Gia, what a paranoia right through the heart of SOTRs, who just got hit by a truck when it just comes to the well-coordinated push from Cloud9.
Unfortunate too, Avery is going to be very difficult for them and for Oasis to retake the map. You already have a contact play towards that front side for C9, so the plan's going to be easy.
Spike planted.
Now even the share shots are going to get the tell of where Oasis is playing. I like the idea of what they're trying to do, though, Lemon Kiwi, at the start for this round for SOTRs. They are trying to pressure towards the C side. It is kind of like a defaulty way if you're trying to bait out Vice walls at the beginning to start off on the C side. And C9 just pressured into the A hit once they heard the door open on that C mound, as they've already initially prowled at the beginning for Lily. The only thing for me that I didn't like about SOTR, though, was that the idea was clear that you wanted to play soft site. So you try to prevent the opponents from taking heaven control. But Invert put themselves in a wrong position here to be pinched by both drop and also on the rope, with no real ways of flashing or delaying enough so that the rest of the rotate could come across and help out on Invert on the A side. So everybody just pretty much got overwhelmed on defense, and C9 takes the pistol.
You get a taste of the aggression that Cloud9 wants to bring to the table. Like, to have 2 go up ropes, to have 1 already throwing a paranoia at ramp. Like, you couldn't even digest the round before 3 were dead on the SOTR side. So, got hit in the mouth, got knocked out cold, and now the anti-eco being Cloud9's favor. An outlaw from Uni on the attacking side. That's really interesting. Gonna be watching over just for that B walkdown. Clearly, they've done some homework on SOTRs, trying to throw some curveballs in that direction, having a more normal default. Not too much map control on the left side, but it's Sari that's gonna peel out the right side.
Sari should stop here because they've already eyed towards Mount and nobody shot the eye and prowled towards front B. You should have the idea that currently SOTRs are stacking towards the A site. So it baffles me right now that C9 haven't even started to pressure on that C Mount yet. And finally they're going to do so with the Prowler. And I think it's just a little bit too late. I mean, Sari is going to do some damage, but we'll see what happens after.
Sari is 1v5ing right now. Like, if it wasn't for someone jumping around the corner with a classic, that will at least signal the rest of Cloud9 to pedal to the metal. And that's exactly why Marceline is on the Neon. She wants to overwhelm and really punish anyone that could be out of position, overextended, just being able to outspeed them. But for now, there's no one home. Thorns on the post plant. That's fantastic for Uni. And she'll have a great sightline with the Outlaw to watch now that the smoke has dissipated. Invert has kind of a high-low with Avery. No, they didn't immediately swing with each other. Low HP. It's just a firing range for Cloud9. And I mean, it was an uphill battle for Send Otters when you had Sheriffs, you had Classics, and a long-range duel. So really clean round from Cloud9. Except, yeah, the anticipation of trying to push the map a bit more when Sari does so much distraction.
Especially when you're stacking on the A site, you should have some clear way to maybe drop some players without potentially dropping your own player, especially Sari's moving into the A side solo. Even though I mentioned that C9 didn't really activate towards that map in the first place, the good news, at least, the silver lining for Sari pushing into the A side and still getting a pick, she gets to communicate with the team that, oh wait, there's 3 players here, C side should be open. And then it confirms then, dotting the I's, crossing the T's, that there was a stack towards the A site, and C site was easy for C9 to take. So this round should be a little bit slower. They've invested it into the Outlaw to continue to scale across the map. So think about Uni of how she's going to try to open up here on this lurk potential.
Toxic screen down.
You know, this Outlaw's part of the picture, so I like that Send Otters are not going to commit. They're just going to try and hold it down, but hey, very aggressive, trying to kind of stop Sari in her tracks before she gets into tree, before she gets going. But now Cloud9 have hit their first wall. Oasis holding the corner. What an anchor, as Invert has the cutoffs. Many angles for Send Otters. They drop the spike and they drop Cloud9 at their feet to try and scratch the surface on their first buy-up.
It's not going to turn out too well for C9.GC, at least for that shot was kind of clean. Not going to lie, nice one from Uni. But you're seeing how the gameplay, at least for this round, should have been some way to activate so that Uni, just like the previous round that I was trying to say, should be played as an insert. Send Otters are giving her so much space that she could keep playing towards the orb and try to cut rotates across and find her ones instead of walking into like a potential stack or a crossfire setup. And you need to maybe bait that wall on that C side, force the rotate so that the Outlaw could also get value. But none of that. So you didn't have a chance to get any value off Outlaw, off lurks, and that should change things for a bit. Maybe it's just one of those moments where C9's prepped to play against a double duelist, but they're like, oh crap, we're actually playing against a normal Lotus comp, so let's go into baiting the wall. And I'm hoping to see this right here. Bait the smoke, get the bully smoke into the C site, force the util in the first place, and then try to activate the map a little bit across the both extremities. I like this round for C9.
I like that Send Otters are conditioning them that they are just playing a more conservative defense. Ever since that pistol walk up on Mound, like Cloud9 are investing more util, but hey, C9 investing bullets into bodies, but the trio, May almost took down 2. And this is the go-ahead for Cloud9, although they did miss their window to get into tree. It allows Send Otters to reestablish on the A site and clear through that. So would be a chance to break into B, but looks like Cloud9 still gonna be happy about this one. Worst case, Steel Garden if you're really scared, but feeling like you have the numbers. Cloud9 waiting for the smokes to dissipate. A big cutoff for Avery, and Lily adjusts perfectly. That was a moment of panic, and they stay composed.
Exactly what you said. Even though it looks like for Send Otters having a couple of players onto the A side, you still have so many numbers for Cloud9. So best case scenario, a 3 versus 1 on the A side. Marceline's cutting that push down towards the staircase and drop everybody there. And Oasis, in my eyes, should save their weapon instead of trying to go for some damage here. Because you already know here that their opponents are going to be able to buy it no matter what.
Pretty convincing showing for Cloud9.
I demand
Most of A success, a little bit of C. Now Send Otters just have to recognize, okay, Sari's working the right side of the map. They've been able to punish that through breakable door. But can Send Otters kind of have more of a push and pull? Can we have a mount fight? Can we set up a one-way? Can we get a bit creative? Because it feels like Cloud9 are able to control most of the map, and Send Otters are just trying to react afterwards. And that worries me that C9 are playing too much of their own game.
The thing is, C9 went with 2 players on the A side too, so they could still do a lot of good conditioning so far for Send Otters, where they kind of just have to guess around the map still on try to take map presence. So this changes a bit. Now I like this one coming out from Send Otters. They had enough of playing a little bit of a passive defense to give so much space for C9, so let's move over and take rubble control. Now you have no choice here for C9, but to really go and try to break and bait this wall at the beginning.
Battison's role on these, ooh, nice shot. Role in terms of pressuring rubble. I like that Send Otters are forcing more of an issue, are just running on sheriffs, so you're kind of looking for those one taps, and Invert has been really good at catching the cross when C9 does go in. Already hearing footsteps of a speedy Neon. The wall comes up. Invert's looking for the one. Uni with some headshots. It's kind of hunting season for her.
Well done on these picks. It's very standard stuff going on for their side too. They're just trying to identify C9 that is where the stacks could be. So
One enemy remaining.
quite easy to utilize towards the end, especially with the pressure on the A
30
side.
seconds left.
Now you finally have the opportunity for Uni to really get that outlaw activated, which what should have been that round number 2 when they had the outlaw invested in the the round number 3 when they had the outlaw invested in the bonus round. So at least it pans out for this side, and you're starting to see a very strong attack side.
Placing wall track.
When Cloud9 have a better buy, they are still not losing really too many members. It's either flawless or maybe dropping one member. So I like, you can tell that this is Cloud9's most played map, the way that they are just executing every strategy, whether it's how they're getting into seed, baiting out the Device Wall. This is not their first rodeo, but Sen Otters are going to take them on a ride. Look at this 3-person push towards Mound. This Haunt may spot it, only one shot it, so C9 still been very cautious, and now recognizing how close that Prowler got shot. Marceline gets involved, and the Queen of the Hill still is Avery, now falling back towards the site.
The activation has to come in now for Siri, so they did the excellent job there, but the unfortunate thing is that the Vice is set up.
One enemy remaining.
You gotta be ready for this fight, and unfortunately it's not gonna be the case. Invert drops Siri. And again, another silver lining is 3 individual 1v1s and a spike given to Uni while she still has a Steel Garden to work with. With a minute left on the clock right now, Lemon Kiwi, there's still a lot of room right now for Uni to really isolate some fights and maybe turn this clutch around for C9.
I like that Avery, you know, had eyes on the spike, know that you don't have to take the 1v1, you take the 3v1. You know exactly where the spike is going to end up. It's either C or B. You heard the door open. There's 3 watching B. The retake's gonna look good, and 3v1, it's just how long is it going to take? It's gonna take a roundabout. Invert. Watch that carefully. So Sen Otters get on the board.
What I would like to see from Uni, though, is with that space that was given to the C site. Not gonna lie, you're looking at the kit that Uni has. Everything is full green. No, no razor vines used. The wall was never put up in the first place. She had the ultimate window to really hold down that C site and to win the fights in her favor. By baiting the wall on the attack side, razor vines to delay like the first cycle of util for the retake for Sen Otter. And as you see here, that teams and players should be grouping up, especially when Avery gave up the 1v1 on that C Mound.
Okay, no one wants that smoke. Showstopper, ooh, cautious. Went for the splash damage, and wow, sussing out that player. Good awareness for Madison. First blood for Sen Otters, and that's that rubble battle that keeps going Sen Otters' way. Now, how does C9 move forward? They still have other win conditions, and it's going to be behind Marceline, most likely.
That was such a huge paranoia from Gia to stall that showstopper. That should have forced Uni to fall back at the same time. There's no way here with the fuse disappearing that you think they're just not going to shoot inside the wall. That said, though, it's Siri that has the responsibility to lurk again, and she has that great opening on that B side. So it evens up in a 4v4. There's still a chance here. I think you get orb control or a pick. I think right now should be a walk contact just to figure out where defenders could be at.
It's so nice to have a reliable lurk like Sari, and she's that pop-off player. Sen Otters, though, Nightfall right onto the C9 parade. They do slip through. Teleport, no, Gia falls back from the ult. Paranoia right through C9, and they have just hit a standstill until Sari and Gia combine. Invert with the cutoff through staircase, that has to be noted. And now not planning on the other side of the box. No, Invert will try to stop that. The Nightfall, Invert brought down to 34 HP. Lily Sari will work their way around the corner and split up and take down that final member. So C9 continue.
Protocols were good for C9 actually on that fight over on A. I was talking about a walk contact to potentially get a pick, and if they get spotted here, you could pick up an orb and then just go for the Nightfall hit into the A site. But instead, they make noise, they open the door because Lily still has utility to use it. Meanwhile, Lily has also just been playing Fade for game after game ever since she came back here into the GC circuit in North America. So it really comes down to the coaching staff around C9.GC just to figure out how they can maximize utility synergy off maybe like just the expert agents that these players like to utilize. So great job on that, to just make sure that the protocols are there, that you follow behind and not follow behind the utility, and then just win towards the end of 2 versus 1 with the ult that Lily had on the pulse plan. So it works out well. Gia had a nice TP towards that back of the site too, that allowed Marceline to really move in and get the finger blasters right into the A site and open up A for C9 to get the pulse plant.
Huge for C9 too to win that Nightfall v Nightfall, because that's a huge win condition out of the sales of Sen Otters, and now a Steel Guard, and that's feels like more of a preventative measure, maybe a retake tool if you can get back into C. That's been kind of a nice talk of war that Sen Otters and mainly Invert has produced. I think that's why C has been more of a challenge for C9. They've recognized that, and they've been opting for more of an A preference plant. But after this timeout, you gotta expect the unexpected if you're C9, and so they gotta be still very cautious around this mount. But Sen Otters can't fight as much there when there's a Paranoia and a Prowler that can mark you.
Yeah. I think they did a good job spotting and fighting back against the mount control from C9 previously, where you had that spike getting dropped. I think they have to continue with that plan moving into the next round, because if you're looking at it from C9, they're actually not that aggressive to take that B line control. So there's a chance here to take mount control, open door, fight into the late lurk of the B site that C9 tries to activate, and really take full control of 75% of the map on the defense, and then just have your A site invert stall again. So hope you see a little bit more of that.
Invert with the one tap of Marceline after getting concussed, after getting slowed. Just knew had to take that showdown, and now the fortress builds up. There's the Viper's Pit. Sen Otters have so much space to work around it, but the Razor Vines are right at the edge, the perimeter of this ultimate. So Sen Otters, it's a big paranoia from May. It's gonna go just at the very top of the pit, not marking it. The Prowlers aren't even going through the pit. They're watching on the outside as Madison peppers around the fortress, and C9 are taken down like dominoes. So what a retake.
Yeah, that was not a good hit, unfortunately, there for C9 in the post plant. As you mentioned, you're giving so much space for Sen Otters to flood back from Waterfall and on the top of Heaven. And while you're doing so, nobody's really breaking you till on the fade going out here from Avery back down that ramp. So the two players playing high-low that have to watch both the run out from top Heaven or top C site and also from Waterfall just has too many objects, too many angles, and they both get popped by double Guardians in the which were the only weapons that Sen Otters had in the round. The timeout was supposed to be for this round here instead of going for the thrifty round that they just converted on that side. But hey, Euro take it. And then that's a chance here for Sen Otters to really come back in this first half.
And Invert's impact in this match, it's not about quantity, it's about quality. But Avery, now no longer part of this equation. C9, a lot of these first bloods, but hey, this is the kind of surprise. This is the kind of jump out I want to see from Sen Otters, to kind of destructure C9 and at their own game. As well, the pit will still stand, and there's Razor Vines, but now no longer can be used. So C9 know. Try to flush out the rat as Oasis just unloads, and C9 still have to deal with the problem. And now it's a 2v2. Very low HP though. Battison. Wait for the perfect moment, and even through the paranoia. A double kill for Battison.
Yeah, thank God that Battison's there to line up the last two kills too, because that swing out to just go outside the pit to fight from Invert was not the right play, because he kind of left literally Oasis on an island. There's no more vice wall to protect you inside that pit, so you're just trying to hold the last stand and try to delay as much as you can once C9 overtakes the C site, which again, delayed enough for Battison to move in and line up the 2 kills with the Vandals. And then for C9 to spam with Vandals through the smoke to try to fight inside that pit. And kind of just gave some ray tracings there for bullet tracings to allow Sen Otters to get these picks in. For the first time in this half, you see the Econ swinging in a favor of Sen Otters, who have a chance to tie it.
Maybe recognizing that the B site could be weak, they can continue to exploit Avery. He's gonna fall back behind the smoke, and May will show up. Call for a hero. May will answer it. Now, He is solidified. C9, the pivot plane. Gotta test this wall, but you know that, oh god, SOTR could be right behind you, but it's the front battle that you have to worry about. As Oasis takes down 2, able to punish through the smoke. The C9, there is no safe space to stand behind. What a tempo change, too, for SOTRs. C9 not able to deal with the Vise util before it was too late.
Well done.
But wait. He's kind of turning things around. Now it's getting the attention. The Steel Garden, and oh my god, Uni almost took care of a lot more than you expected. We have ourselves a tie game.
Didn't even give a chance for the guns to even jam when you're actually starting the Steel Garden too. So yeah, I agree with this. Calling out the timeout for Coach Indra and Relic just to calm things down for a bit, because the last few rounds in terms of the macro, unfortunately here, has not been as clean for C9 ever since SOTRs called their timeout at the end of round number 7 and got their 50 conversion. So now it gives them a chance to work a little bit of the econ, try to get the rounds back into their favor here and close out a stronger first half for the side of Cloud9. You're seeing here, Lemon Kiwi, that the Ops coming out, they had the Outlaw in the previous round for Battison too, and I don't think the Outlaw was spotted in the first place, so there's still the element of surprise that Battison could really bring. When you're noticing here for C9, they've not only been full utilizing util to take map control, but they've also mid-round walk contacting a lot. So I think this op could do a lot of damage against the late lurks of Seri or Uni as well, going down towards his A and B lines.
SOTR's just being more proactive ever since that timeout. You know that you got to put a stop to Marceline before she starts scaling. Because SOTR's were having a Vise wall trigger. They were having smokes, and there wasn't anyone trying to turn that into a kill opportunity. Invert was playing solo a lot of the time, so I don't blame them for kind of trying to play their life there. So then Oasis is now the one getting there and spamming through the smoke, spamming through the util, and making every step so fearful for C9, especially when the door is opening behind them. So now C9 recognizing that tempo change are going to get active a lot quicker. But like you said, the op has still not been noted. Thankfully for C9, it's not part of this side of the map.
Still love the proactiveness though from SOTRs. They're already blocking that line from the from Battison, watching down towards that C line, and you can play saw sight towards A because Invert has their Steel Garden. So if C9 wants to actually pop into the A side, which would not be the case, I feel like they're trying to just bait and switch a little bit to go for a mid-B take. This is still going to be very damaging onto C9. If they don't have this door protection, this op could do a lot of damage, and also the Steel Garden.
It's an easy retake tool off of Invert. SOTR's really just holding the line, watching for any shenanigans that C9 could be doing. Now the break-in, Oasis will be on call. On the other side of the smoke is just going to be spamming through. Marks their position though, so C9 will be aware of it. Smokes are in place, and the spike will be too.
Again, think about this op from Battison. So if SOTR is going to make some noise here and Battison gets a pick, that's showstopper ready for a double flood back from 2 big ults.
Bring me the arsenal!
Steel Garden, but here's a punish from Marceline, but too much on her plate as the op misses the shot, and Seri will not give you another swing. SOTR's now able to use their Viper Wall to isolate these battles, and man, the teamwork does make the dream work. The defuse halfway, Seri cannot prevent it, and SOTR's will get the lead.
That's what you wanted to see coming out from a Steel Garden. Just hold your angle. The 2 choices that you make out of this when you're being affected by the Steel Garden is run away or try to find your timing to swing for that fight. Which again, I feel that's what should have been done by C9 when Uni had her ults a couple of rounds ago rather. But instead, it's just SOTR that stay clean through the protocols. Players are running to their crosshairs. Yeah, even if Battison misses her op shot, at the end of the day, there's still too many numbers here for SOTRs to flood back into the B site and get the defuse. So 4 unanswered rounds, a timeout not converted on the side of C9. SOTRs are in a great spot right now, especially copy-wise. Close this at a 7-5.
No showstopper fight. Battison didn't have May there, and you really want... Could have been a good buddy system for SOTR. Just the way that they're able to retake against the Steel Garden and more. Marceline testing the waters. Lily just trying to draw attention, but knowing to push into an op is Not a good decision. Last round of the half, we'll see if C9 get back on their high horse. There's a big cutoff opportunity for it. May, Paranoia, C9 scour towards the B site, and Invert will be waiting for them. But watching through B main as well as Uni, will be a good fallback opportunity as Sari now will get the ball rolling. Nightfall right into SOTR through the top of the site, but Invert does not care. Takes care of business themselves. But Marceline, a judge, and Op, and the final boss of C9. 3 versus 2 on the post plant. Time is of the essence. Invert Oasis will peek one by one. Great angles from Marceline, and kind of sketchy there at the end, but C9 will still even us out before the second half.
Almost was a big
Switching
save there
sides.
coming through from how they were playing that defensive line for SOTRs. It was actually quite nice how even Invert denied here that push from Lily and company out towards the waterfall area after they go for the post plant. Just not enough util to follow behind the smoke, and they just walked right into the meat grind, and Invert picked 2 easy kills. Marceline tried to keep the Dream alive, but again, just one of those moments where SOTRs just have too many bodies and too many angles to watch here on that defensive line in the post plant for C9 that SOTR is able to tie this first half of this series, which is actually quite nice. Remember, this is whoever loses a series is unfortunately out and cannot make it to the main event. This is an important matchup, an important map to start, especially when SOTRs are coming out with this newer comp.
A crucial pistol round, a crucial map for C9 to win because this is their best map and this is their choice. Go to Summit, which could be a big unknown, but what is known is that Sari falls on a very aggressive lurk, at least marks most towards spawn, and that'll force C9 to restack towards the B site.
Kind of like this though. C9 just gambling. They lost their player in the front B line. Let's open the door and stack towards B. I thought they were going to keep rotating towards the A site, which would have been like, we'll anchor up on A, help on that side, play a retake on C if we need to. Unfortunately, it goes down back into the extra paranoia that was added by the noise that was cut by SOTRs, which now still gives an opening here for SOTRs to take control over on the A site or to break the door and still finish B because of the late insert of Invert in the front of that B site.
Rally continues to A, but Uni have a very important position here. May be tested. That's why that Flash is in that position to cover an A site fight or possibly into tree. And SOTRs know
30
without
seconds
that
left.
tree control, it's hot
C.
to clear through to Invert.
Yeah, making noise right now towards that A side just to finish towards C. Invert's the one cutting the rotate, so a 1v1 in the front of the B site here.
Ooh, it's kind of back and forth between Invert and Lily, who missed that initial shot, and Avery or
10
Lily
seconds
just
left.
sticking to their guns. 8 seconds. Plant will go through without a hitch, and here's C9 knocking at the door. 1 neighbor removed, many more to go. C9 grouped up together. And here is the surge. Battison marked down to half health. Swinging around the corner, C9. Avery try to get down to it for you, and they're half health as well, but the C9 teamwork just simply overwhelms the post plant as May's jumping around and can't do much more. So C9 will get both pistols here on Lotus.
It was really good on the first attempt though when Invert was trying to cut the rotate. I think even if Invert loses the fight towards that B site, you have to stick together in some way, shape, or form in the post plant scenario. You look at the 4 players from SOTRs kind of just
Placing wall
all
trap.
grouped together. Then as soon as you go for the plant on the C site, you have Oasis solo trying to angle hold towards that front of the door, and then 2 players
Rip and
push
tear.
inside the spawn while you have one staying on site,
and
and nobody's
tear.
really playing off each other. So it allows C9 to get what? 2 individual 3 versus 1s, and then a 3 versus 2 in the post plant. That is not enough for C9 to hold in the post plant, or sorry, for SOTRs to hold in the post plant. So C9 able to win an important pistol round here, as kind of felt their lead that they built in the first half kind of slip. Now for Marceline to activate with this Marshall.
Yeah, 2 marshals on this anti-eco, and C9 went for just a single outlaw
Spike
before.
down
The most
A.
important kill, you get the spike down and the fade. A huge point of getting information for this team, but hey, if you even see the site at all, hopefully Battison punishes Marceline on that final whiff, and I mean, what an impact from that duelist. SOTRs nearly cut in half. Battison able to recover the marshals. Probably not going to be the best tool to brawl with, but C9 will find their way around, sneaking through the smokes, trying to take angles. You could see at the top of the site, Uni just probably hold this position until the rest are ready to flood in. Gia, Paranoia, in almost the second. Uni goes 1 for 1. Here is the retake of C9, and it's beautiful as they convert yet another anti-eco.
Works out in the end. I was gonna say you were right by calling Uni should stay back towards the spawn. You started to see her slowly walk towards that front. You have to think here at this point that if you're gonna tap towards that door, that somebody has to react here for the side of SOTR and the Pulse Plant. And if it's not gonna fight back towards the main door, it's maybe to push an angle. So the double push out towards that spawn worked out for a trade for SOTR, but thankfully C9 still had some more players at the entrance of the A site at the bottom of the staircase to instantly trade off the backstabs.
I love that about C9. Like, they are just trading. SOTR, though, they, despite losing the pistol and the anti-eco, this is kind of deja vu. When that first buy-up happens, that's when the light switch turns on for SOTRs. Now they're being on the attack, trying to disrespect the one-way. Battison choosing a boom bot or a nade. You want to just pressure out that choke point at C, and SOTRs get that job done.
The only thing that's unaccounted for is potentially somebody hiding inside that one-way smoke on the defensive line for C9. So that's why May just stays inserted there and makes sure that nobody's peeking out.
And maybe need May eventually to bring that paranoia if there is a big fight, because losing Battison is really going to hurt SOTRs. No boombot, no nades, no really big entry. Not that Battison is the double satchel in kind of raise. They are very much a one step at a time, front to back type of duelist. But right now, SOTRs have already forced back C9. The smoke comes down, the curtains are up, and Marceline has been found. No duelist. The side of C9, 4 versus 4.
With the pressure that came towards that C mound too, SOTR looked like they were just trying to figure out if the Vice was going to be set up at that spot as well. They realized no Vice wall at that spot. They walk in for the contact and surprise Marceline.
30 seconds left.
And a great start for Cloud9 to convert this bonus round, but the advantage, in my eyes, going back to SOTRs, especially with this split. It's like
Gonna be a lot on Bailey's plate. Not much util left, but as Uni that could step in, but just with a share of 11 seconds, they just have to buy a little time, but Oasis just kicks down the door. You heard that wall get triggered, and you forgot about a very important angle. And it's bloodshed across the board as SOTRs will win their rifle round.
Yeah, where's that calm that the doors got busted and somebody has to watch it? Because if you're looking at the backstab that just came through here towards break room into B, the person that Oasis takes down wasn't even hit by the paranoia, so audio was definitely there. And should have been ready there for at least that fight, but you have to understand it was a time to hit for the side of SOTRs too, in the front of that B site, so maybe they felt somebody else was going to be watching that spot back into the break room door. Comes a nice little hit towards the end on the attack side and converted round on the attack too, where SOTRs are closing the gap by 1 once again. Marceline walking forward. Somebody has to break that boom bot. Okay, still gives a chance here for Marceline to get the opening surprise here, and definitely seems like SOTRs are feeling that there's something icky here in the waters, and they want to avoid dipping their toes in there.
Yeah, I have the egg too. I mean, you don't have as much deep information now that that haunt's been gone. Like the Prowler, it's probably going to get shot out again. You don't want to waste too much because SOTRs have shown us that they really want to work this entire map up until the last second. Like a couple of these rounds now have gone to the last 10 seconds, and it's really stressing me out. And I'm sure it is for them as well. SOTRs at least get position into tree. They have not taken down that Vise wall. That's something Oasis will have to do now. It's one step at a time, but C9 are not really forcing the issues, so it's free real estate for SOTRs.
Ouch.
Love the punish though, at least with the lurk as well. Looks like C9 kind of knows their own style too when it comes down to this comp.
Yeah, especially when you know that the defense is running out of util and the smokes have expired. You could try to go towards spawn and look how deep May is. Gonna be coming up from behind. Marceline's gonna watch it. Only so much the op can brawl with. May will punish Marceline on that front. Now SOTR, they have them surrounded. Cloud9, about to see another tie game unless Uni and Lily
Player standing.
somehow salvage a situation. But Sen Otters are just poking and prodding. They're not even full committing. So C9 can't even clutch because they're not given the opportunity to.
It's a good call, though, at least for Sen Otters to just pressure into the staircase. Just one of those moments where you don't expect that to happen, and it's never really done, so you just got to try it. High risk, high reward. It pans out in their favor. They catch one player off guard, solo rotate onto the staircase, and then you already see right after C9 kind of scrambling, trying to figure out how they can retake towards that site, where you see Sarah get kind of caught with the snake bite in her hands. It had to be on the rest of C9 that had to flood back towards the A site first so that she gets the element of surprise after. There was no coordination there, and unfortunately, you felt the pressure of the timer of that spike slowly ticking away. So those mistakes will be forced and will happen. You see here, as you mentioned, a tied game 8-8, and the best weapon that you carry for C9 in this round. It's going to be a Spectre. So gamble stack leading towards the A side. Sen Otter just expecting some sort of a push at some point, maybe at the minute mark, because it is too quiet for them to start moving forward.
Gonna be such a good round for Sen Otters to kind of get their ultimates online too. Just a couple of orbs away from Nightfall, Viper's Pit, Showstopper, you name it, even Invert. And this next cycle of ultimates will determine who takes Lotus, because C9 are also close to a bunch of ultimates, just not the best weapons to get them with. Neither can you really fight for orb control. Those types of weapons, but man, barrel to the dome, and messy, but Oasis gets it done. Double kill through tree, little one tap as there was a bit of a lapse. And Sen Otters just mark the huge stack that is at A, and I like
30
this
seconds
pivot.
left.
Yeah, 2 first easy kill for Oasis, and you spot the last 2, so accounted for is minimum 1 player at the most. Be fast to go to C site. But Sari with the Spectre is just waiting for her teammates so they can rotate together and do some damage on the exits.
Yeah, why not ult? Just
10
get
seconds
that
left.
confirmed information, especially with the last 10 seconds. Waterfall, double push. Here is the cross, and Battison gets crossed up. Cloud9 force enough panic that the Nightfall ensues for Avery. 2 versus 2. Uni picks up the Vandal. Counter Nightfall this time from Lily. An important round. 1 HP as Invert works the crossfire, but the trade isn't there from Avery. What a reaction from Lily as Cloud9 steal away the round.
Not a good angle to look at here from the waterfall. Whoever got picked off there didn't have a teammate with her to actually watch for the double push outside of that smoke. And see how it all falls down to pieces one by one. Everybody's like, oh my god, they're actually swinging out from this. Weapons are getting upgraded. The person on top of the pillar was still watching back towards heaven in case a push was coming towards that side. And somehow C9 with the eco are able to convert that on their side.
All set.
Didn't even need the Spectre in the first place. And it's the Bandits that makes Sen Otter pay the price.
Too obvious.
C9 are able to maintain the lead out of this matchup in the second half. Just small mistakes that are being fully capitalized here on the defense.
Nightfall exchange also goes Cloud9's way. One thing to note is Marceline will have the overdrive here soon. Really, you want to slow things down. Hound fight. Not really being baited here. Sen Otters. Ooh, kind of a high, not a high-low, but a stack. Cloud9 towards B. That's really what's given them the advantage. It's how they isolate, but how also they just outnumber Sen Otters when they're in these power positions.
Ready.
Yeah, right now Oasis is not really giving anything here to set up a lurk on the A side. Maybe they can move forward and bait the wall because it's been so quiet on that staircase. Wall up, force the hand here of C9 to make a move. It looks like it's just a Hail Mary play. Waiting to group up together, use a showstopper to open up the site. Invert looking to fight in front of this B site to start.
Pinpoint.
Invert, such a mechanical player. Oh, showstopper! And Battison almost took themselves out with it. The splash, now making a splash into the A site. Here comes Cloud9 rotating in late, and you're gonna hear it coming. What's most important is how Oasis handles it, because there's no Viper from Sari to kind of cut this off. So an important sideline for Oasis. Now just trying to spray down Oasis, but doesn't get that. Or G, I should say. Almost ran out of bullets too. Sen Otters really relied on Oasis to keep it held down. 2 versus 2. Will Cloud9 remain in the lead? Madison's not gonna have a lot of HP to play with. Now, if they swing, they're pretty much cooked. It's going to be about attention. Where is your focus at? As Madison is still playing with their food. Just have to prevent the defuse. That's all it's going to take for Sen Otters to hold the post plant.
Shots not hitting, unfortunately, there for C9 on that retake on that 2 versus 2. Almost made magic happen, though, but I think all that round for the macro just in favor of Sen Otter. Keep it very simple. Like I said, take that showstopper, group up, explode into the A site, because as Oasis hears that wall, you're thinking that C9 are just playing soft side on a solo Vice, and they're able to punish Uni there. Overall, I think C9 in that previous round are going into the same type of problem that Sen Otter has faced at the beginning of the half when they were playing defense, was giving up too much space. You're relying too much on what's happening here into the retake protocols for C9 instead of trying to be a little bit more proactive around the map. I like the idea of the high-low towards that B site, but after that, how do you really control and maintain what happens off the information that you get after the Prowlers from Lily? Nothing was really activated there for C9, so Sen Otter was just able to have a much cleaner exit into the A site and catch a lot of players off guard for the rotate across here.
I mean, the biggest lead we've had this whole game was a 5-2 start for C9, and now it's just been lead traits back and forth. It really is unclear who could come out ahead, and I'm going to continue to stress how important this is for C9. This is their map pick, their best one, and the rest, results-wise, is favored Sen Otters in terms of results they've had against other teams like Catface on Summit, and split the map 3 being Sen Otters' most picked, most played map. So C9 got to get it together, but they really do blossom after these timeouts. We'll see how they can enable Marceline for success as another mount fight will be executed. And catching May on the teleport, but a trade from Madison. Mechanically locked in. Now there's bloodshed towards Spawn. And Sen Otters, they just swing so synced. And now Gia's left to pick up the pieces. At least one should be called out. That invert's at 6 HP, so this is possible for Gia.
Doesn't have a paranoid to work with though, so you're just hoping.
Where are you?
I mean, you can't rotate for coming. You have to. You have no choice. Even if you try to go through break room, you break the door, so you kind of have the information that she's gonna be there. Yeah, she baits up the wall, but like I said, I don't think break room door has been broken, so that's just not gonna be as useful. She probably has to rotate all the way back through spawn.
Cover going out.
What happens here?
A lot of time that Gia is wasting just being as slow as possible. And now you just have to explode onto the site. Invert Avery looking the other way. Spike ticking down.
Shadows.
Gia is now trying to smoke off tree, thinking that's where it was planted. That's where they were going to hold it. And Sen Otters. Oh,
They brought weapons made of metal.
Again, I think it's another one of those moments where C9 feels the pressure of the spike ticking out. You made such a good job just walking around the site, and then as soon as you actually are about to enter towards the site, you make audio noise dropping into the pit. You just run across, smoke out, knife out, not even clearing corners. Where if you actually took the knife out and just, or gun out even to clear out that one single angle when you're moving into the site, would have given you maybe a chance. Unfortunately there was a mistake that happened, but again, it was just a mixed buy for C9. They tried to go for a trap play into a C-line, B-line crunch, and resulted into potentially a clutch out from C9. Timeouts for this one, though. It's not been utilized early in the round. Just going more into positioning in the macro at the beginning of these rounds for C9's for the discussion from the timeout.
Yeah, Sen Otters just kind of simplifying their approach. Just fully run down mound, but Oasis gets run down by Lily. You lose the right side of the map. And now time is of the essence for Sen Otters. You don't know someone could be pushing towards spawn. You've lost eyes and ears over there. And you see Madison get active. And man, kick back against Uni. And needs the follow-up from the team. But now C9 are slicing and dicing through multiple angles. And Sen Otters have to find their way through the chaos. As Madison got way too far ahead. Avery gonna try and see if they can trade Marceline. Just right in their face. 1v1. To decide a tie, or invert and Sen Otters getting to the red zone. Sari will be right behind them at half health. It's going to be about rotations.
30 seconds left.
A chess match between two pawns. Is invert. Panicked and knows what they have to do, and Sari's just cleaner. A tie game between the two.
Nice little round here for both of the teams. I think it comes down really to whoever was shooting better off the exits. It almost looked like it was going to be on the side of SOTR after Madison just gets the beautiful 1v1 battle when she's fully hit by the paranoia and still manages to win the duel at the bottom of the bend. But thankfully here, Sari stays stoic in the 1v1. Able to win one back here for C9, and we continue to go back and forth in the second half. Not going to be as decisive for Cloud9 when it comes down to their best map, but doing their darnest here to make sure that they capitalize in this first map of the series. Because remember, going into the BO3s, the way that I preface this is that Summit and Split still favor SOTRs here.
Imagine like a Viper's Pit with a Bucky. Like that could be pretty gross. SOTRs still need a few more seconds to set that up if they do want to invest the pit. I think a first blood here from Oasis could inspire them that this could be a winnable round despite the buy deficit is almost caught with no weapon in hand. Prowler, Oasis, flicks onto two, just one, but still that's some damage being done to C9. The spike is down, but no one is actually within the sight. The defuse starts for Gia, and you need invert to deny this. And the diffuser killed almost at the end. Holy, that was as close as it gets. SOTRs barely take the lead.
C9 giving too much space. You mentioned so many ults available here for SOTRs when they have a lower buy. Yet, it just becomes a round that SOTR wins because C9 were pulling out mistakes again from the spike taken. Look at the rotate that you had from the door opening at the revolving door from C side to B main, running through, not checking the right side B corner because you're just trying to figure out where SOTRs are currently being positioned here in this post plan. There was no rotate from C9 on the top of B heaven, so you played the rotate with so many question marks. And for SOTR to be able to win that round without having to deplete so many of those ults, it puts them in a prime position here to steal this map away from Cloud9.
C9 have reduced the Thrifty off of this half already, but that was off of a 2v2 and a really good swing out of some smokes from Sari and Lily, I think it was. And speaking of Lily, the Nightfall, you have SOTRs at arm's reach, but C9 impatient. They don't want to play off of that ultimate. They're just hoping to get their one and done. If anything, it's C9 done in this round. A little bit of damage done, but not anything to write home about in terms of kills. So can it be a flawless? Uni just looking to get her one so you can get one closer to the Steel Garden, which will matter if C9 can force either an overtime or somehow turn this all around.
Flawless.
Hopefully they can, because they'll have money in the next round for C9 and a Nightfall to work with as well, and an overdrive potentially if Marceline could get a pick. But this is a huge important round here for Cloud9, of course, because you can't let this map slip away from you when you had such a strong lead at the very beginning of this half. 4-2 before you start to see the comeback rather from SOTRs in that first half to tie it 6-6. I gotta say here that I like how SOTRs, despite the pressure, is changing into a newer composition for them on this map. It's nice that they're not feeling here that they have that pressure of losing the series potentially against C9, because again, I feel like this map is that throwaway map for the attack side for SOTRs. They're making it work with simple things. Main TPing onto the C site cancels out the eco that C9 was trying to play on that stack on that C side. Now almost punishing the jump spot on Uni there. And you already have a wall. I mean, look at the position that C9 has. You don't need to jump spot into the C mound.
Uni just won't be able to punish anyone who triggers that wall. It's just gonna be trying to race out of the site. Don't want to be a victim of that showstopper. So many important ults, but what matters is kills. And Sari gives C9 a fighting chance with that first blood, denying the lurk towards B. But that door opening will kind of scare her further back. SOTRs on the verge of winning off of losing 2 pistols and the anti-eco. denying the bonus, sure. Sen Otters go in, guns blazing. Showstopper gets nothing. He falls back. Sen Otters are still looking for an opportunity, but now the Nightfall gets their attention through Waterfall. Sen Otters want to be primed and ready, but it's the mound push that they did not expect. The retake comes in from multiple sides, and Avery can't handle it. So C9 give themselves another round.
Very nice Nightfall from Lily too. It actually hit all 4 players from Sen Honor inside the C side on the post plan. So
Thank you.
the flood retake was much easier to take when all those pings came out. Confirmed that nobody's lurking around here for Sen Otters. The C9's closing that gap, but they had to deplete the ult. Sen Otters has the Viper's Pit to work with in the post plan. You saw how Sen Otters has been executing in terms of Showstoppers when Badison has it.
I need a weapon.
Again, keep it simple. Ult in, take space, win the fight in the post plan. Now you can do very similar things here by just ulting with inverts, Steel Garden, pit inside the C site to take control of Waterfall and spawn, and then just win it off the post plan. Let's see how it'll pan out. Seems like C9 wants to deny that in the first place here by putting Marceline over on that line with 2 other players to help.
Yeah, C9 cannot let Sen Otters plan, or despite the successes C9 have had on retakes, it's gonna get dicey. Sen Otters win this out in regulation. C9, I mean, it was off of that Sari first blood. So you gotta trust in the lurk. You gotta trust in just how she's holding middle of the map solo. But right now, it's the perimeter that's getting pressured here from Sen Otters. They do have to kind of jump through some hoops, some obstacles, some razor vines. The Vise wall comes up, and it's Badison all on their own. Vandal in hand, skipping away. C9 not really emerging, thinking there was maybe a bigger stack with Badison. The Nightfall, the pivot. Sen Otters going for plan B, as Lily could be sitting in main. Try and stop Sen Otters from playing away from the spike, playing out of the site. It's an interesting Viper's Pit to not cover the spike, but rather where you think the rotation's coming from. A side as a Steel Garden late to the party for invert as soon as they sense the retake, but it's C9 that have made their mark to even up the odds. Now nothing stands in their way as Uni gets into prime position for the judge. And off of the Viper's Pit, you know where that stack is for Sen Otters. The defuse already halfway being held. Sen Otters gotta look alive. And it's Lily and Gia. Avery to deny it all as Sen Otters will steal away C9's map pick.
Now that you see here, Lemon Key, with no comp changes for C9 for the 3rd time around, hopefully 3rd time's a charm where you are able to blend in both of it together and try to get an upset win against Sen Otter on this map.
And how you work together is what's going to matter, because I have no doubt that mechanically Marceline and Invert are locked in, like since round 1. My big question is those secondaries, where Badison now on the Phoenix and Cloud9 not operating around a second duelist. So do Sen Otters, are they going to have a better way to entry and to enable invert? Because Marceline is that type of duelist that can operate solo and around a team, but not necessarily needing that second duelist. And Badison had such an excellent performance the last time they went on Summit. So I'm looking for a big step up from her, especially because some of these op shot misses, I know it's a very important match with very high stakes. The nerves are setting in and you're not going on your map pick there, but we'll see if kind of the shots are going to land a bit better on this map, because hey, at least you won that first map. But Badison's role on enabling invert is going to be crucial.
For C9, for me, it's tough for them to watch flanks. I'd like to see them try to just 5-player hit every single time. It doesn't matter for me at this point, because you have great tools to really pop on the attack side and have some very effective site hits, and then just play on site and don't have to worry about flanks. So I'm hoping to see that for C9 with what they currently have on the table. And looks like Sen Otter has done a little bit of studying, because they already have 4 players looking to guard right into the C9 5-player pop.
Where are
Long toss, and Otter's not being marked, but it does force them back towards the site around the corner. It's Badison that just lands 2, and after a feed is Fire in the Flames. Badison lighting up 3, and that's the type of setup I wanted to see. Looking for the ace, the 4th kill, the flash around the corner, the curveball hits a strike. Sari will fall, and it's still a Sen Otter's pistol.
A walk into the smoke too, disrespected by Badison inside. and lines up 2 kills before hitting a third one through the smoke. And already, this is a bad snowball for C9, but better here for St. Honors, because now on the defense, Badison can start farming and have already a Phoenix ult in their bonus round. Thing is though, we're not trying to effectively move Badison into just denying them, and they're going to try to play with a Marshall instead. That gives a little bit of a chance for C9 to move forward into the second attempt to get a plant over on A.
Toxins going up.
And for the Phoenix to get all those kills too, this is how St. Otters could scale up maybe in their bonus. See how many weapons they can bring to that first though. Now watching at a distance. Round the corner.
The C's hit all 5. That's crazy.
Okay, just wait out the storm, and here is the storm knocking. It's Marceline and friends dislodging the 2, and Badison smoked off, so the Marshall will remain hidden and in submission, as May could have a slowdown opportunity and does so with a bullet right to the dome. Not even needing that paranoia yet. C9 paranoid themselves on whether it's safe enough to plant yet.
Try to group up and look for map control. Maybe isolate a 2v1.
Gun here. Toxins
That
going up.
gives him a chance, though. At least this is a huge fight from Siri to give a C9 the player advantage.
A lot more comfortable after that pick in your positions through the top of the site. Here's that paranoia, though, from May. The immediate execution, and then the infiltration into the smoke as a team. It's nice. Really, Sari. Okay, don't want to be playing Duck Hunt against Badison, who did almost just pull off an ace in the pistol. Somehow, through the midst of all of that, C9 didn't even get a plant. Send Otters. Now Badison has a lot of time to play this deadly game of Ring Around the Rosie. Is Lee gonna check? Badison hoping to punish that impatience. But C9 are not gonna give Badison that opportunity. So Badison has to take fate into her own hands, and teamwork gives C9 the denial.
How did that happen and turn around here for the side of C9? Everything was looking good for Sen Otter to capitalize on the anti-eco. I'm looking at the opening that C9's currently doing from pistol round to the second one. It feels like, to me, utility is a little bit wasted at the beginning because you're going with the Viper wall on A side to slice, and you're using the haunt just to take control of the A orb area instead of trying to haunt paranoia to really clear out towards garden or site. So you're forcing yourself to really run blindly through a smoke, and you could just get punished by a crossfire setup, yet somehow still tapping and baiting out the rotates for the side of Sen Otter. It allowed here for C9 to just win duels in the end.
And what looked to be like a momentum opportunity, like you said, for St. Otters, because I was just talking about Badison almost farming up to that ultimate, which could have let them go on a roll, but now it's them getting rolled. C9 really showing up after a frustrating first map loss. Now the Prowler chomping down on Badison. Lily strikes through the heart of the duelist. St. Otters are left without an opportunity to trade. So Sari is meeting some confrontation, trying to catch St. Otters on these exits, and a lot on her plate, and reload being the biggest op here.
And thankfully, from the chaos that Sari brings here towards the site, you just saw what was answered back by St. Otters despite taking her down. Use the Prowler, use the Paranoia. That's zero util for St. Otters to retake towards the B site. C9 should have a cleaner pulse plant over on B now.
You have invert speed,
30 seconds left.
This is Marceline's best agent. So you're going toe-to-toe against the GOAT here, but St. Otters may just have the numbers, and no, just that slight stagger. Marceline punishes a huge double kill that pretty much seals the deal for this round. Avery and Oasis just with sheriffs. Avery around the corner just looking for their one, but Lily's just been on one today. There, she just wins every single duel she's in.
Yeah, thankfully from the C9 Thrifty round that they got on that previous one gives a chance here for them to just maintain their composure for the rest of the half. We talked about how important the snowballing was going to happen there for St. Otters since that 4-piece that Badison brought in that system. Now, yeah, doing a little bit of econ damage towards the end of the day because you converted into a Thrifty round for C9. They still have an abundance of money to work with in round number 4. This is an opportunity to reset, but this Nightfall from their side, since the Thrifty for C9, gives them a chance to level out the playing field from the run it back from Battison. And as you open up so many times over on the A side with the same Viper wall, you're trying to maintain that conditioning. The difference right now, though, is that SOTR doesn't have to fade there. So if no Haunt's being thrown into that A side orb that I mentioned before, SOTR should still know here that this is a fake for C9 to start.
And Lily, I mean, huge shoes to fill, but the team talking about how vocal, how easy it was to integrate her. You know, back in the day, making GC playoffs in the Gen G Black days, many years ago, and now trying to face that same championship level opportunity as Sari falls, a line is being held, the defense standing strong, Oasis with the slash down. Some of these members of C9 now are at a pretty clear deficit, trade after trade, even through the run it back reset. Cloud9 get back on their feet. Now the plant goes through, no one left to say anything about it. There's a 4K from Gia in that round to save the day.
That was a huge 4-piece by Gia in the previous round. That was much needed for C9 to stop here the flood from SOTR. It looked very good to start on the defense for SOTR until once they popped their ult, crap. A deadlock wall just got thrown right into that connector. That's what I was talking about before, how it's difficult here to exit and retake on that side because everything gets blocked off by Uni's wall that she throws from the front of the B main right into the cross. So now as you're trying to flood and pincer here from the back spawn and into from the B link, then again, C9 just has to focus on one single angle. And now you force SOTR to just run into the sprays of Gia. That's C9 now converting 3 rounds in a row in a much needed early timeout just to try to get their gears back in favor of SOTR here because they've lost all that momentum that they built up from that pistol round that they won.
But this is that same, like, really explosive start that C9 showed us on Lotus until that first timeout happens for SOTR. Just need that tempo change and for a round to be won without Battison needing to drop almost an ace. But that was just the pistol, right? SOTR, they can still navigate these waters just fine. This is their map pick. And it's Cloud9 that can really dictate a lot of these rounds just off of pure aggression. And it's off of Marceline, just how impactful she has been at times. Whether it's that double kill on the post plant to Lily 6-1. Having that Nightfall is pretty important to have earlier on. But SOTR, bunch of sheriffs, a hope and a dream.
Well, C9 has double outlaw on the attack side. So just as I've mentioned, going into the second map where I haven't seen too many sniping capabilities from C9 on Lotus, they're doing that in strides on their attack.
SOTR don't need to get too antsy here. Just look kind of for their one taps, hold their position, let the attack do the attacking.
Watch out.
Which I know you want to kind of find your timings and surprise C9. That's when you've been striking gold when it comes to Lotus. And here is gold, but it's C9 mechanically standing out and standing behind cover, standing taller than SOTR when they tried to surprise them.
Talked about the insert of Lily and Uni going into this roster for this second stage, and they've been quite good in the last 2 games that they played that put them in this position against SOTR today. Saw how good Uni was on the Vice on the previous map. Just unfortunately wasn't enough here on the defensive side to help C9 move across the finish line. But this round, you're seeing the great value of utility from Uni, despite not having too many kills on the kill feed. But also the utility from Lily are also the two pivotal things that allows for C9 to really get some good rounds on their attack side. We talked about how the util that they currently have is so good for site execs and for floods. Well, you need those two to kind of be alive to allow Marceline to get the best of their capabilities once she tries to entry towards these sites. So yeah, gotta give props here to both Lily and to Uni so far in the second half or second map.
I give props to someone like Uni where, yeah, 0 kills looks bad, but how flexible they have been, dynamic through this map, through even just the agents that they play. Because Uni has been usually that Phoenix flex too, so if they wanted to play double duelist, Uni would be the one to fill those shoes. But you talked about the impact of just these deadlock barriers thrown in these fights. Throwing SOTR for a loop. It's working out for C9. Now the buy-up. We'll see if Sen Otters can get back into this game before it really starts to escape them and the economy gets way too out of control for C9. But oh, just to spam through the smoke is enough to stop Marceline, and that's a huge space creator for the C9 roster. They're gonna maybe hope that Seri gives them an option, though.
Cage
That'll
triggered.
make the exit extremely hard for C9 right now. Remember, we talked about the fast lane being super important to slice off so that players could actually flood behind Marceline. Now you're hoping here, because you still have the paranoia and the net and
Where
Haunt,
are you?
this could really say Haunt. There he goes, being thrown towards middle, so it'll be even harder for them to get into the A site now for the split.
Not a lot of good information, but you caught a fish into the net. One-to-one trade. What you need is Gia to still be alive with the spike and stop in their tracks by Oasis.
30 seconds left.
C9 just spread themselves too thin, trying to find Sen Otters before they find them. 3 versus 2, though. It's I'm gonna say it's not over, but now it's feeling over. Lily gonna duck into cover, thinking they have a moment to plant. But now it's a fake in the double up, but Avery just on top of it. Sen Otters climb back in.
I also think that Sen Otters are currently understanding that C9 every time they're on site. How many times have we seen C9 tap spike, swing, tap spike, swing, tap spike, swing? That was second round, fourth round, last round. And then the 6th round there, and they were finally to just stay together instead of trying to antsy up and move as soon as they hear the spike plant being, or the spike noise being planted. And they're able to catch their Lily trying to go for the hero play on the 1v2. But really not out of the frying pan yet here for Sen Otters, because Nightfall and Pit really available for C9 on the attack side, and they are trying to be a little bit more proactive around the map for C9 because they're trying to sell this fake over onto B.
And Marceline has to be careful. I mean, she got punished last round, and C9 dearly missed her. I've had more of a struggle to navigate the map without that Neon and that 10 HP. Marceline is going to be on her last legs. Sen Otters still have a trip in position. That kill that Oasis is hunting for. The cage dissipates. Oasis, neural theft. All the information is the paranoia stops and lets Oasis feast. The Prowler's only a distraction, but Lily finds 2. So clutch be clutch, but the numbers favor Sen Otters. But what a moment for Oasis to shine.
Well, that was a huge paranoia by May to actually blind 2 players. Allow Oasis to pick up those 2 simple frags. Waited way too long for C9 to actually activate into the A site. Hell, you threw the fast lane and the Nightfall into the B site because you're trying to sell a fake, but they haven't really pivoted over onto the A site once the fake was sold. If you're actually looking back at the VOD, this is perfect. Everybody rotated across. You're playing soft side over on A site. You got to break that util. You have to move in. You have to make sure here that you leverage some map control over on the A site. Maybe because Lily was selling that fake towards that B site, they didn't have the Haunt or the Prowler towards A, so they got kind of scared moving into the A site. But man, at that point, it's a 3 versus 1. You have a chance here to really just trade and go in for that plant. It gives a chance for those 2 players to that fake towards that B site, play inserts, to cut rotates, to be the backstabbers going to the late round. But all of that macro was just out that window, out of the window here for C9. And that Sen Otters now forcing that time out of C9 because of that, and hopefully C9 can clean up the act on the attack side now.
I like that C9 are trying to stifle the momentum here because this is that kind of Sen Otters comeback that started to happen on Lotus. You had that really strong start for C9. Timeout happens for Sen Otters, and they start to just string up a bunch of rounds. So C9 just trying to ice them out after 2 back-to-back rounds. Sen Otters pretty much stacked on the right side of the map with the camera and everything. As Oasis is going to have to re-clear through B, and I guess they're just going to let Cloud9 have B.
Nightfall for the retake. Guess that could be the biggest one once they flip back here from the B site. But also maybe thinking since the timeout that C9 has been opening a lot over on the A side that they might have had that read. This is not too good for Oasis though, because most of the util is to help out towards A.
I would have liked for that camera to be over on this side, but Oasis is just a go. Could probably 1v5 if you ask her to, but finally C9 just invest enough, and now invest the pit on top of it to into the spear being Gia.
Face your fear!
Try and stop SOTR from dropping down, but the nightfall ensues. It covers all of C9, and SOTR will infiltrate the perimeter. Now the spears go through C9's fortress, and the bricks are just coming down one by one, and the shotgun to boot. What a retake from SOTR.
One corner not cleared. Somehow this should have been an easy site take for C9 over on B. Like I said, the trip camera, everything was used towards the A site to just prevent a flood from C9 over on A. Oasis, he didn't even decide to play soft site. It just held one corner, which you're currently seeing being pinged on that spot. How did we not clear that corner is probably the comms there coming out from C9. Because of that, there's no macro towards the drop. You pit, try to cover some areas, but again, it's very similar to what we saw on Lotus. It doesn't cover enough avenues that allows SOTR to still flood back from different angles and just take down C9. So gotta go back to the drawing board on how we want to execute on these Vipers pit to make sure that we maximize space. But at least now maximizing space is nice for C9 to sell this fake to start, and he could punish Madison here.
Crazy how much of a resistance there is from Oasis just onto B. Trades though, C9 still come out ahead and with free mid control. We'll see if Sari can find this last one. No fishing, no fish in the sea here for Unis. Oh, the till now. Oh, the delay. Didn't expect that one. And now it's free for the taking.
Kind of crazy too. I didn't even think that the ult lasted that long to actually connect into the A side. So that was a nice little bounce back by Uni to put her on the board too after that kill from the Deadlock Annihilation. This might be a save no matter what here for SOTR. I think they are in a great position to look for exit kills if they want to, because they still have money to work with in the next round. They haven't had a chance or needed to pull out an operator yet either on the defensive side. So still a lot of tools on the belt here for them to switch out the defensive look. But for C9 here, that was ended up being a nice little clean round off some aggro pushes that maybe was a little bit too overconfident for the side of SOTR, because look at those X's on the middle of the map, both of them on an island when Madison and Invert gave their lives away here over on middle.
Marceline is making a ton of great space, but her sacrifice is not in vain. Like C9 still are able to trade her out and deal with these stacks that SOTR are kind of throwing at C9 to see if anything can trip them up. Is there going to be a corner that goes unwatched? Because that has happened at times. And now that 3-round win streak has been killed for SOTR, so C9 could be easily trying to force another 6-6 half to see who goes to the main event, because the loser will not be advancing and will miss out on GCC. C9 want to use that confidence to get into B. There's one trip down, another one to go, and another Prowler. You heard the op, and C9 already pushed back because of that molly, so kind of ends up going back to square one.
Also resetting because they heard that op. But both Prowlers being used, and you can't really break the trip. That's another reason why you have to give up the B site. But the insert from Siri is huge here.
Toxins going up.
We've been waiting for her to just be more of a nuisance to SOTR, because I don't blame her. She's usually kind of finding these 1v3 opportunities, and that's a hard one to clutch out. But now Sari living their minds rent-free, spots the barrel. Avery tucks away, and this is still wasting Avery's time and is dwindling because of the snake light. Sari could be just taking down now the third player. No, Avery locks in when it matters. We'll regroup with Oasis. Addison with the op that will watch as C9 just stay in cover and out of sight, out of mind if needed. As Oasis wants to spot any of these hiding spots with the camera that is still active deep into this round. There's no deadlock barrier, and all hell is about to break loose in this 3v3. Will it be another tie game? Can C9 get further ahead? What a flash! As Lily is set up for success! And that's all she needs. C9 get the gap by 2.
Huge there by Lily once again. Hiding away from the curveball. thrown by Madison, but I think the biggest one is that play from Siri. Not only does she get a nice little pick, gets a second kill, but also delayed long enough to not really give a chance for SOTR to retake on the 3 versus 3. Things make it a lot more difficult here when you're trying to retake with an operator. You can't even break the barrier wall when it's being thrown here by Uni. So again, I have to praise on the insert from Siri. I think on that previous round where SOTR just got instantly denied on mid control, they wanted to give that up, and that timing that Sarah decided to be a little bit more quick into the mid control was huge. This round,
Watch out.
SOTR does not want that to happen. And also, instead of just walking one player down, they finally have 3 players to meet up with each other and try to take full mid control here.
As soon as the Cypher util starts getting triggered, Oasis is good at pushing back, and this allows SOTR to try and tempo up, but Invert is found in the middle of the map, and good spots for Sari. Knows this team needs to amp up, and Marceline, that's where she thrives. Speedy and relentless, and already going towards the defender's spawn. Madison spotted, Marceline adjusts, and she's on a rampage. May and Avery may just be the next victims. As May will barely be able to escape. It is actually maybe trapped by the deadlock barrier. So a huge round, a huge retaliation for C9. We're about to get 3 rounds in a row.
Another big one by Siri too. Talked about 3 players walking down towards middle, yet somehow Siri only has to fight a 1 versus 1. Dominates that fight. Now forces SOTR to quick pivot to try to trade. She calls the audible so they can execute towards that B site because she has presence and knowledge of 3 players that she was facing up against down towards that middle line. So the last 3 rounds you have to praise here on that lurk from the Viper. And allows here for C9 to really get on site and for Lily to just light up the kill feed as well on how she's currently playing these close plant scenarios.
A big change up in the defense for SOTRs, now having Oasis towards the right side. Guardian, all Guardians being relied on solo, knowing that C9 to prioritize more of that left side. Not investing so much in the middle of the map. SOTRs just letting C9 run rampant. So now trips being triggered. A moment for Oasis to fight back, just smoked off. Deadlock barrier in the face. Sari lands on Oasis, not allowing them to escape. SOTRs will have to do so. A person down. Run it back for Madison. This is gonna be an obstacle in the way. Snuggles 1 for 1. Gia taken down from the top of the hill. Uni though, as impactful as ever to try and put the nail in the coffin in this round. SOTR's really running out of time with these Guardians, especially when Lily is as stoic as ever. Holding the corner, holding the position. As Invert and Madison are about to hold an L. And Uni is going crazy. This gives C9 an 8-4 half.
Yeah, and finally for a chance for Uni to have her moment to shine, picks up a nice 2-piece towards the end and meets up with the rest of her teammates as we move on to the second half. But yeah, the heroic plays coming out here from C9 so far in these post-plant scenarios. SOTRs are not looking good towards these retakes. Gotta praise at least Madison on somehow getting a kill with, what, 6 bullets left after she had to ult, break the wall, and move into Garden. At the end of the day, it still becomes a nice little attack side for the side of C9. Nothing really special coming out from that side, to be honest, in terms of how those rounds panned out. There's lots of space and lots of gaps given away by SOTR in the wrong moments that was capitalized heavily taken advantage of by C9. Now C9 has a chance here to really close out this second half because they had a pretty strong defense with the double stalls that they had from the Viper and
Threading the needle. Marceline is not even going to get too antsy and too eager. It could have even followed through on the Prowler, but sticks to their guns, sticks to their team. Happy with the first blood. So now C9 want to try and re-hit into this. Unaffected though by that flash as Gia that waits for her moment, and Marceline is at the top of her game, looking for the ace. As his Oasis wants to be as far away from that action as possible, but we'll have to recover the spike, and a backstab opportunity here for Sari if she's lucky enough. Huge round for C9 that'll get to double digits here very soon.
be hard. Spikes out in the open too. I mean, you'll get a timing potentially onto Siri, but that's fine. That's going to be a nice little drone to allow C9 to capitalize on winning another pistol. But that was a huge round that we saw here from Marceline.
30
Very
seconds
simple
left.
off-angle play, denying the push coming out from SOTRs. C9 looking primed here. Both teams are just going to steal their backs away.
Hey.
It's okay, you can just clip that part out, just kind of shorten the ace a little bit, but it works out.
Yeah.
C9 at 9.
Wait, hold on, Lemon Kiwi. Let's on 3 go. Oh, 1, 2, 3.
Oh,
Now you can
Pog.
clip that part out, add it onto the ace. Now it's a nice little highlight reel.
Wow. No, that was still a crazy round for Marceline.
It was, it
Position to the high ground, like other neons would be greedy and just like swing around that corner, especially off of like a prowler that could have caught someone else by surprise. But Marceline, really smart. And now if they can convert that anti-eco, it'll be even better. But SOTRs, this was their map pick, and for them to go down like that on their defense when I had initially praised them for having a 10-2 half against Catface, like this is really throwing them for a loop. Marceline smoked off, and at least she'll get another opportunity. Middle of the map, gifted to SOTRs. That's where they want to cross into. Now all eyes on the perimeter from C9 will converge to the center.
Man, they have to go for the control orbs right now. I mean, you have great camera presence on the A side. You could move here towards B. You know you're playing against a deadlock, so you're going to have to play this kind of slow. Make some noise. They're probably going to force out some smokes. This should be 2 easy orbs for SOTRs to take here on this round.
Get a lot of stall with that deadlock barrier versus just the trip. Hail of bullets that Uni just heard. Choosing her moment to swing carefully. Catches Madison. Thought more were coming out of the smoke. Crosshair breaks. But Lily shows up to annihilate 2 more. Those SOTRs tripped up before they could even smell the B site. And C9 getting ever so closer to that finish line.
It was gifted to them right now for C9 for SOTRs to grab these orbs. C9 playing turtled up. I think also the name of the game, if they continue to play this way for C9 on a defense, there's still a chance for SOTR to come back in this one, because we've seen the nature of how kind of Lotus evolved when C9 was playing very passively, towards their sites and just trying to leverage on their utility to stall. This time around, though, they're trying to deny the orbs, but also look for the trap play right in front of you.
Must convert for SOTRs. Strong vibe, but man, Avery is getting pushed by prowlers and more, having the spike. A lot of reliance on SOTRs, how they're crossing into B from mid. This Madison floored by a sheriff, of all things. And this was Madison who almost had an ace in that pistol round and has been quiet ever since. But Sari, oh, the backstabs, the 2 for 1. Bit of a lapse for SOTRs, as now Avery will try to join May and see if they can even get this spike down.
SOTR is so focused on the insert that May has, and somehow you have a Cypher in your comp, yet you're still getting backstabbed by Sari, who picks up 2 kills
Spike
that way.
planted.
There's a great chance, easy for them to upgrade 2 weapons for Cloud9 on middle and to play this 4 versus 2. Look how it's planted. It's not really there for SOTRs to play the cleanest pulse plant. It's up onto the surprise factor of May with the paranoia.
See how they swing into main, or how they're gonna watch this doorway as Marceline caught in the midst of a hail of bullets. SOTRs play this game of cat and mouse, and man, they're fragging out of their minds, and Avery with 4 clutches it out. 2v4, by the way. SOTRs, that was insane.
Guys, we're on a 4 versus 2. Why is Marceline walking out solo, and then we have Gia TPing out? No 3, 2, 1 swings. She's swinging out alone. The other one swinging out towards the box and solo. We had 4 2v1s in favor of SOTRs on what was looking so good for C9 on the backstab from Sari, who did absolutely everything that she could. Excellent attack side, excellent flank on the previous round, and you let the bonus round slip. But thankfully, silver lining is that you don't have the best of weapons for SOTRs in this current round. Hash shields across the board. I could do some huge damage here if you're connecting headshots with these phantoms for C9.
Speaking of former teammates, you have Avery versus Uni from those Ghost Gaming GC2 days. Rosters in a different day as SOTR still have to double their score.
Face your fear!
They will be seeing a third map. Nightfall ensues. Avery and the rest trying to settle in. And C9 have to have Sari in a safe position, who's been ever so dependent in these solo heroic situations. Now Marceline gets to creep back in thanks to a Prowler. There's so much pressure for SOTR to protect themselves in that spike carrier. Now Marceline trying to get busy is the ultimate. Rains down on the parade. It's Avery. I don't know about clutching this one, champ. As C9 get back on their feet.
Funny how Sari utilizes pretty much the same wall on attack and defense, but I like this wall on defense as well. You're forcing a lot of crosses to really get into the A site. My only caveat is that if there is more splits from SOTRs on the top middle into the A link, into the garden, early or the backside of the A site, doesn't really give Sari a chance to really anchor up in her spot. You saw how she was really pushed out here in the front of the cave, but because there was no pressure coming up from garden side, then she could just hold her wall and let our teammates rotate here from the 3 players onto the A link. So this timeout, I think, should have the conversation that if this look from C9 continues to look this way on how they're anchoring up on the extremities, I think the mid splits should be important. If not, a late lurk from Oasis should yield tremendous value if you're able to backstab those players rotating onto the A link of C9. So let's see how it pans out in the next couple of rounds. This has to be the most crucial round into the half that they have, or into this map they have for SOTRs, because you're definitely seeing that they're forced buying into this round number 17. They don't want to play for the overtime. So they're hoping that these 2 rifles from Oasis and May could do some damage.
It's crazy that the double duelists of Battison and Invert aren't clicking as well. And I mean, Invert has to go from such a different playstyle of being a Vise that was able to just kind of play solo, play off their walls and kill, to now on the Neon, you have to be fast. You have to kind of make that space. It's very different. It's not the first rodeo for Invert, but based on the number of assists, you're still enabling the rest of your team to survive, but just based on the scoreline, so much more is demanded of Battison and Invert on the attacking side. Speaking of space, early round, just a lot of focus into looking at the middle of the maps where Sari and or other people from C9 have prioritized their footing.
Yeah, SOTR was just waiting for the 14-second smoke to dissipate here as Gio throws the one way. So they walk contact and realize here that it was all a ruse, that they're playing turtle up once again for C9. So again, this is what I'm talking about. The late inserts could do some good damage against C9 here.
Be an important moment for Uni. Already catching what a paranoia through the midst of SOTR's caught. The deadlock barrier too to prevent anyone from speeding into C9's defense. Is slowed down, tripped up in their tracks. Once the barrier comes down, I mean, the rest of C9 start to get crushed. You just made SOTR's angry. Avery could use an upgrade, but it's just going to focus on getting the plant down. And 3 versus 3 is Uni is on their last breath as well. Prowler not going to be able to get through
30 seconds left.
Deeper into the site there
Spike
for
planted.
Lily and Friends retake. Prowler and Seas, SOTR's grouped up. Battison, right opportunity, right moment to shine. Make it a double kill as Marceline against the world to try and retake this. And SOTR's will not take this laying down. They'll continue to survive.
Gotta thank Invert for swinging at the last second here to save their teammates to allow SOTR to get this last round, but it was looking tough. They took a long time here to actually go for a plant, maybe playing similar style as C9, just forcing out rotates off taps. But thankfully, they were able to hold their ground.
I need
think
this.
at the end of the day, the slow contact worked out in their favor too. There was a little bit of a slight mistake from Oasis walking through that smoke, needed to wait for their teammates to be a little bit more proactive around the map to really force the focus onto the A link before they could decide to move outside of that smoke. It'll continue to be an uphill battle here for SOTR.
Okay, Avery in a bit of trouble. Okay, but C9 are not going to push that corner. And able to mark Avery and just kind of make them force some util out. But the same sort of trek for SOTR's. Much more passive towards mid, but like you said, C9 You play a little turtled up. And now that you have the Viper's Pit on the right side, it is gonna be a work around it or work through it for St. Otters.
Bring them
Careful
down.
with Lily, though, and Uni. Gonna try and swing into this. One bullet through two bodies. That's gonna be really all she wrote for this round, feels like.
Here. Deleted.
Almost feels like the pit's over for
Last
Vega.
player standing.
I mean, at this point, they were trying to trap play in front of that B line again. It would have been good because if you looked at it, Aver was holding that line solo with the spike, and if they continue to press forward for Cloud9, just to see how kind of St.
30
Otters are
seconds
setting
left.
up their defaults on their attack side, it could give them a better idea of how
Spike
they
planted.
could start their defensive rounds. That said, into the mid round, you have a pit, you have a deadlock wall being thrown on the B side. You know the pressure's coming in from the middle, yet you still wanted to walk contact in that angle and get punished here by the flat shot of Avery instead of trying to play a little bit off angle, trying to play off each other so that the GC Sheriffs could prove a point that it's probably the best Sheriffs that we have in the game. That said, still money. It's going to be enough for them for this round. Big ults for their side too. They could stole
There.
this huge cycle ults from both Avery and Battison. Probably steal this map away.
Bring them down.
Something special about these St. Otters timeouts, but now you're out of them and you have to go all the way to the end. This is not a sprint, this is turning into a marathon. Absolute stillness too from St. Otters. Trying to see, can you catch C9 being impatient? Nothing is going to be given. St. Otters will have to earn this round win as they converge into mid.
Cage trigger.
C9 needs to start moving a little bit more here. You've already had one jiggling towards that B main and Marceline holding on the other side. It's been a minute. You haven't heard or heard anything yet. No pressure on that side. Maybe second Prowler is about to come out. And that if that does keep those two players anchored up over on that B site, SOTR is actually a great spot.
Joke's over!
Stuff, neural theft, and a second kill. St. Otters are thriving. They're blossoming. And just when I thought Lily was being in a position to kind of tuck away into cover to mark this, to
30
play for the
seconds left.
Nightfall retake, C9 just get caught.
Gotta go.
And St. Otters, the perfect punish
Gotta go.
for the round to continue, or for this game to continue.
Spike planted.
Marceline won't let this be free, but at 200 credits, very low credits across the board. Yeah, you'll maybe gift a round here and there to St. Otters, but C9, you just can't choke this.
They gotta move around this map, man. I really didn't like how static we stayed for C9 in that previous round. Finally, I think the one person trying to find some map control is the one that's weaker on site. So Siri trying to move forward solo, which shouldn't be the play if you're pretty much looking at how the positioning for the X's were and where the deaths came across here for C9. You had, again, two players playing towards that mid side, or sorry, towards the B main in front of the sonic sensors. So you're not really trying to leverage information, trying to play turtle up or stall so that you try to find some fights towards middle as like a buddy system. Your buddy system was all gonna have to be through the reactive plays of that B main look, and then everybody else is kind of just isolated on different spots. You saw one at top middle, which is Geo solo. Geo was on the A-Link solo. You had Lily that was playing solo on the top middle, and then Siri solo on A side. So when that happens and SOTR could just continue to walk contact with more bodies in your favor, then you're starting to see the results of 3 versus X scenarios again.
All right, no more timeouts. I'm starting to think there's no more second chances for C9. I mean, not gonna have a good buy here, just a hero vandal, and that's about it. But what C9 can do on these lower buys can also be quite special. They got a thrifty on their defensive half on Lotus, but that's when rounds are starting to be traded. And as long as C9 just keep trading rounds, that would be ideal. But St. Otters, it's momentum. It's a 3-round win streak. It's Nightfall v Nightfall. This is gonna, if that gets invested from C9, they better pull off a thrifty, or they better just invest in the round or the next round, where they can just dump everything and hope they can just get the match point.
Yeah, I think the issue as well for C9 is that they're playing a deadlock, right? So there's no Cypher Cam over on B side. There's no scripts. There's no Vice as well to like try to stall. So you're just trying to play like different angles over on the side of C9 while not being proactive on different spots to give value for Uni to play around her utility. Now, as they stack towards this A side, it's just an eco though. It's okay.
Still, it's a good trend for Senators to find Marceline out in the open and punish her. Making this a clean round always helps. Maybe a Marceline kill would have been nice to get the overdrive earlier on, but hey, Senators, they're proving that they are just heating up. They are just getting started. They, like we said, they had to double their score. I think they were down 4-10 at one point. And now it's 8-11. As Gia won't let this be a flawless.
Yeah, add another one to the tally, of course. Should be a 9-11 quite easily for Senators, but just to continue to the point of Uni with the deadlock util, I think at this point you have C9 once again. They need to be proactive around the map. I think if you're gonna try to throw like a deadlock wall, very similar. If you think about it in terms of like how teams kind of cook with the deadlock on Bind and Ascent, when the wall, or even Sunset, for example, when you throw the wall, if it's not being shot instantly, your guess there is that there's no pressure on that side, and you can lean more over on that on rotates and get ready for an actual site take or map control from your opponents. If that's not happening right now, and you're still staying and just trying to watch angles and trying to spot your opponents, you're just gonna get picked off. This time you saw here for C9 on an eco, I like, yes, that you're trying to gamble stack towards the A site, but at the same time, you're still moving players solo, you know, out into the orb area. You're trying to surprise opponents maybe through your own Viper wall, but if you're looking at the comp that they have here, you need Gia to maybe try to play from Garden to flash to fight towards the orb. But it still makes it very difficult for them to go for explosive hits and fights. Again, you don't have their initiator and your smoker. That's your only flasher as well to try to go for these aggressive plays. It worked out when they're going for side execs on the attack side, but on the defense, you gotta try to find ways to get value out of it.
Talk about a valuable half for Senators. They've now won more rounds on this half than the first half. They're starting to run away with it. 4 in a row. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Not even needing to invest a Nightfall against the Eco C9 previously. So still a lot of tools to go the distance. Marceline has an op too, but Senators have really not pushed this B corner too much. I'll find you.
There you go. They're finally moving around the map though. So Uni breaks that Prowler, which gives Marceline the line. So you could stay confirmed and confident that there's nobody really re-hitting towards that B side. Now you're able to rotate 3-player towards A, so that timeout, talking about the macro, moving around the map here for C9, super important. Let's see how the next wave is going to be held by C9 after. The wall is still up. You're not trying to grab net throw. You're not trying to deadlock wall to try to find pressure. It's just going to be once again off contact and maybe get an annihilation out.
Face your fear!
A little nervous. Nightfall hitting Sari. Maybe Gia on the teleport back. Going fishing, and Uni will profit. Now the hail of bullets right through the smoke. As C9 put up the wall and put a stop to the Sen Otters comeback. Avery and Invert 2v4. This is a situation that Sen Otters have turned around before, though. C9 just need to confirm the round, and Marceline has the kiss of death with the op. Invert will be also buried in Cloud9. The match point, seconds away from forcing split.
And it worked out. And I think Senators, as I've praised them on the first map, how they kept things very simple on the attack side to make it work in their favor, was trying to just leverage ults and follow behind it. And as Avery tries to do so and ult towards the A side so the rest of their team could follow behind them, well, that's where that positioning, the early position for Marceline and Uni, allows for Uni to be prepped up and ready to deadlock wall and ulti and just thwart the Senators push. Beautiful play for that side. Now you don't have that ult to work with anymore. And you also have given the tell though that you have the operator going into this round. So I like how this time you see how Senators adapted to this rather. Prowler to camera, just to see if the Opper is going to be there
Cover
to start,
going out.
and now they can work around the map a little bit more.
Yeah, this is going to change the entire game of how SOTRs can approach when you know there's an op, so just trying to stay behind the smokes, but that's also how SOTRs got demoralized when they just got spammed through the smoke at these choke points. It's not how they take the space, it's how they actually get onto the site, and beautiful shot from Marceline, the op at the ready. The haunt taken down as Marceline repeats and won't go for that one again, not with SOTRs watching. Now you're not able to punish that op, so SOTRs are left picking up the pieces, and against C9 at match point, it's gonna get scary.
That haunt hit all 4 of them, by the way, so nobody breaking that haunt. They weren't even flash bite either, as Gia utilized
30
her
seconds
flash
left.
towards the A-Link. Allows C9 to be a little bit prepped up and ready. Still has snake bite from Sari if SOTRs are just looking for that last second pivot.
Where are you?
It's invert. Putting down the red carpet, trying to go deep into the backside, finding Gio, escapes through the smoke, and Sari gets a 2 for 1. Amazing stuff. 8 seconds is all SOTRs are gonna need. Get the spike down. Marceline hunting towards the top of the site. Nightfall from Lily, and just swings out. SOTRs were ready, but C9 had the numbers, and they will force split, stealing away the SOTRs map pick.
Ooh, a Clove coming out from May. Interesting look here for SOTRs. Maybe because you have Battison with the Phoenix, they can really just be self-sufficient in terms of the map space, map control you're trying to get here for SOTRs, but May here as a Clove. Remember, this is another agent that allows for you to be very self-sufficient, but the kit is definitely not enough in my eyes to help you into you know, team fights or side execs. So I'm intrigued to see. I'm expecting right now May, Battison, and Invert to just be a pack to work together for their attacks. I'm expecting this to be very fast hits as well, Lemon Kiwi, where you don't really default around the map too much, and that will give a chance here for Oasis to activate a little bit more on their lurks as is Viper on attack.
And that's a first time for SOTRs when it comes to split. To replace the Yeoman seems to be like an on the fly decision, and to do it in a map 3 last round of the Swiss stage, everything on the line. We'll see if it pans out for the SOTRs, while C9 were able to force this map 3 after having such a strong start, but then not able to cross that finish line on Lotus. Takes a lot of composure and maturity to go to a map that you're less experienced on, like Summit, and still have a pretty strong win, 13-9, all things considered, and just stop that comeback from SOTRs, because you know there's always a resurgence when it comes to SOTRs, especially when they take timeouts.
Well, pistol round's about to start, and Oasis will have the responsibility to listen to how much pressure should be coming towards them on this A side. You could also see from C9, or it's contact, or just going for the straight paranoia flood right into A main. Yeah, that's going to be the case. We'll activate now,
Oh my God.
or yeah, for SOTR to move towards B.
Got hit by a truck. That truck's name is Marceline. The delay that Uni creates too, with this deadlock bear and the snake bite too, and you caught May in the midst of that. It's amazing isolation. Sarah will be tucked away into safety. So will the other with the flash that Battison put out, who continues to be the X factor of SOTRs when it comes to the pistol. Will Battison be able to keep on swinging through the rest of the rounds? I want to see that too. With C9 on the drop down from heaven, sending a few there. As a big catch from Avery once C9 were so focused towards their own spawn. Comes down to that last 1v1, and C9 come out on top.
A little bit of dancing for G as well after the 1v1, but that ends up being a very nice C9 round in the end. SOTRs almost had the round thanks to the clutch from Avery. Potential, but Gia just gets the laser beam classic shot right onto Avery. I love the start that we had from both sides, but it also didn't give me a chance to talk about it. Notice the agent change from Uni going into this map with this deadlock. I think, as I mentioned before, Vice very good to stall this double duelist on the side of SOTR, but I think this is also going to be very nice in terms of Uni as this agent. If it's not being cleared out because you're not playing, for example, any Skydogs or any util that allows for the sonic sensors to really activate at this point, it gives a chance here to really stall in the same way. The fast hits potential from SOTRs, but also with the GravNet that could really just stop first wave, second wave hits.
Is that Marshall from C9? Just one of them this time. Marceline centered on her island with Sari with the judge. So worst comes to worst, there's layers to C9 that you gotta peel back. Is re-peeking into the double duelist. Oh my god, Marceline is fearless. And Gia will get her one as well, shutting down B. And now it's just duck hunt. Sure, no one is punishing Marceline. 46 HP. SOTR's not able to trade, and pretty disastrous start to a save anyway.
She did her damage. Avery's down to 16, invert to 60.
Toxins
No
going
choice
up.
but to try to Hail Mary into a B site for a plat, maybe. Oh no, they're thinking that this is work.
Okay.
And now Hail Mary
One
back at the
enemy
B site. They're
remaining.
trying to get a plant. It's gonna be an easy round. Closed out by C9 in the end. This will be nice too. And we're good.
That's the fourth pistol and anti-eco of this whole series that C9 have converted. We'll see if the bonus will be on the dock as well. The SOTRs, good to note. There's a Marshall in the mix. There's that Viper that likes to sit in mid. How are you gonna address that? How much of Avery's utility do you want to use? Kind of space out from people in that smoke.
Try again here, Lemon Kiwi. Another paranoia crunch. This time onto the B main. She is about to throw it down. It should punish May here.
Love these run-downs from C9, but they're not going to push their luck too much. SOTRs are going to try and fight their way back. Sonic sensors. C9 want to draw them into this trap. Prowler not going to mark Marceline. Surely SOTRs not going to go for this, right? They are going to send Battison. Now a moment. Ooh, okay. Marceline peeks early. No trade for Uni. Still relying on the sonic sensor that eventually gets found, so SOTRs get ahead.
I can respect the play from Marceline to try to peek out, but I think they still had the opportunity to stall and wait here, especially that Uni still has her wall up, waiting for the cycle for the GravNet. There's no push coming out from SOTR yet, so gave him a chance to stall a little bit more. But May, as you can see, they're using smokes to like break walls and stuff. That's not going to leave them too much smokes to go for an actual site exec. And with this push from Siri,
What is going on
seconds
over
left.
here? We're just jumping into the garage. All right, well, get the round over with. SOTRs, hey, patience pays off. They like didn't even leave spawn, and most of the kills aimed them.
One enemy remaining.
Bit of a surprise on the
Spike
flank.
planted.
Oasis
Shadows
addresses it, and SOTRs will deny that bonus here from C9.
Yeah, that's just unfortunate too that Siri just got caught and found, because that is not going to allow for Siri to push as aggressively as she wants to for the big flanks when it was actually left as a gap this time around by Oasis. And now, probably in the future rounds, SOTRs will want to keep one player kind of just set up for the prevention of that push on the A side, which should be the continuous responsibility of Oasis, should they continue this type of Viper Wall lurk style that they're trying to do here for SOTR. But like I said, it almost feels here that for C9, they force themselves into the wait from SOTR. I felt like because of Siri's push out for the A side back into the spawn, you don't force yourself to double push into the B garage because you already have all the information and they're not going to be on the A side. So putting yourself in a 2 versus X scenario and just give your lives away and not able to convert a bonus round. So at least an operator comes out. You talked about the prior of the operator for C9. Already Marceline's posted up on the A ramp to try to go for a pick.
So much to learn from C9 when it came to that last round. Just how aggressive they can be, so SOTRs can
Joke's
play a
over.
super conservative early round. No one's home. Battison already reset, didn't even really get eyes onto the site. Just spammed through. Mystery person in the smoke. And there's Marceline. She hits her mark. SOTRs will have to just take note of a sniper on the high ground, so now wanting the safest plant ever.
I want to fight spawn. Gonna try to ulti and fight spawn potentially here.
Blinding.
Have the spike two, and now the backstabs come in. Marceline makes her way from behind. Madison left out to dry, and you just walk into the crosshairs of C9. And she has just been nonstop shooting bodies too. I love it.
Confidence into the third map for sure, but I am just questioning that round for SOTR. First off, Oasis peeking onto the A ramp when Aver was trying to dog up in the first place. You're peeking for the Prowler and you die. Then when you're actually tapping the spike, when Nightfall's available for Avery, you're not trying to go for the slam and try to fight while they're at low HP, but try to contact up. And as you get stalled here by the Nightfall, by a paranoia thrown by Gia, out of pure instinct, it just left themselves deer in the headlights, not watching each other's backs. Marceline gets 2 easy kills, triple kill into the round 2 with no communication coming out from SOTR. That is a fumble moving in here and putting themselves into a very bad buy. And when I talk about this, Lemon Kiwi, a bad buy, and you're letting your tip of the spear be Madison as is Phoenix just play with the Sheriff instead of giving them a rifle.
Oh, sneaking past the deadlock barrier.
Watch out!
But hearing that sonic sensor does make Madison a little bit uncomfortable. This is all just to create any delay, but C9 can't really create kill opportunities, but rather just stall out SOTR. So you let them play their game, and maybe the game is to just play off the Nightfall here of Avery.
Well, now you know. TP towards the B main. SOTR are not reacting back to move back towards the B main, so they know the finish is on A.
Another pick opportunity for Marceline. Does the wall come up to try and break this up? Important for Oasis.
Face your fear!
Measuring the moment
left.
carefully as the Nightfall rains all over the site, but no targets to be found. It's just on the high ground as Lily is able to mark a few targets. And SOTR's find cover, find safety, and will in fact plant. Don't want to overthink the round when there's an op in the picture, but man, what a net from Uni. One down and many more to go. Covering their bases, covering on the flank. C9 just infiltrate from all angles and evict SOTR's like it's just their job.
The sliding no scope op 2 for style points for Marceline onto Madison. Gia, as you can see, good bodies there and having a good time, but dude, I am just scratching my head on these plays from SOTR's so far. Yeah, you went for a Nightfall onto site. It's nice. The site's open for you to take, but then you insert one player towards screen solo, so you're trying to hold that on a solo. It doesn't work out. Doesn't give you a chance to really set up for crossfire setups on the post plant. Yeah, so that, I think the timeout here is just trying to clean up a little bit of the micro so far for SOTR's here. You almost saw at the beginning of the round here, Lemon Kiwi, when the wall was thrown by Uni on the top of the stairs at middle, and yes, it was crouched under by Madison, and she almost had like a clear walk into B heaven. That's also a reason why Energy just stopped playing Deadlock on this map too when Brock was testing it out. It happened not quite a few times, but once or twice, where people were just able to slide through the wall and do some good damage on the top of B heaven, and they switched away for the Vice. This time around though, it's just simple things. It doesn't matter on the comp so far. The ult from Gia had enough information that the hit was happening towards the A site, yet while you still have 30 seconds left in the round, SOTR did not try to stall or cancel the hit and still decide to move in, just didn't have the right positions in the post plant.
It's that same strong start C9 always start out with these big leads, but it's this first timeout from SOTR's that can really turn the tides. And a lot of this firepower is looking more consistent from Madison, but now you need everybody to be on the same page, or on a page at all, because Invert is not turning around the odds compared to Summit. But there's many more rounds of split yet to go. Have a 1-3-1 default here from SOTR's. Same sort of slowdown from C9, but trying not to be as aggressive. There was so much, C9 did so much conditioning at the start of the map of having Marceline run it down, and SOTR's always had to be ready to absorb that, and they just couldn't. Very small, careful round, curveball. Marceline playing into cover as best as they can, but this leaves Sari with no assistance to stop the pain train that is Sen Otters. Maybe just that one and done, but man, the Prowler's beautiful!
No way.
For two
Spike down
shorty
mid.
shots, 2 kills, and the spike is dropped between the 2 neons. Invert gets the punish at 8 HP, by the way.
Enemy remaining.
Makes this a salvageable round, all thanks to Oasis as well.
30
Needed to
seconds left.
outclutch C9 in these moments.
Uni has to retake with an op on a 1 versus 2. Yes, has annihilation. That could be huge. If she's able to take that run right away, it's going to be a 1v1 rifle round.
Spike
Need
planted.
to know. Need to have some kind of information, or you're really just throwing the dice. But allowing, not going towards the back corner of the site, just is really certain that there is a ramps player and just gunning it straight for them. Spots the barrel, but Invert is just quicker, and it's a Sen Otters thrifty to cut the lead.
Get ready. I go
Somehow
fast.
ends up being a flick that's for the decades here for Invert to win that 1v1. I think it's thanks to the barrel of that operator being way too long. Being spotted in the corner of the eyes, POV of Invert to be able to flick on time for that kill. If not, a 1v1 with annihilation. There was a possible chance for Uni to get that. And change the plan around, give the operator for Uni instead of Marceline so that she can anchor up towards that B site. Marceline did an incredible job anchoring up towards the staircase. Yet, 2 players get punished for that push into sewers.
Invert, alive and well. You love to see it. You floor the op from Marceline, and this changes how C9 have to deal with this. Annihilation. You're going fishing. Who's here?
Nothing there.
Nobody, but that's still good information that you've corralled Sen Otters towards spawn.
Okay, Sari plays the insert. If she could start listening for footsteps to see what happens, I don't think she should get herself known into ramen. This insert could be very important. Despite them losing 1 player early here for Marceline, especially with that wall, yeah, isolate that fight. Try to fight towards the sewers here.
Just it's easy
down
pickings.
A.
2 for 1 for Sari. Cutting down Sen Otters as Invert greedy, but has a teammate. They have
One
the
enemy
spike.
remaining.
They don't care. They're fearless, and they have the neon ult. As Gia will be the last one spared from all the violence. As Sen Otters
30
gonna
seconds
plant
left.
down here in a second. Probably give this one to Oasis.
I'm out of here.
Or not. I guess they're on the high ground. Unfortunate. But still, a round win here is what's important.
Yeah, planning for them too, just to make sure you don't lose position of the high ground. And I'm gonna say it'll be difficult for Gia, but she's clutched it before. We saw that pistol round on that 1v1 against Avery at the beginning of this map. Has to walk and the up top. So yeah, I have to praise again Sari on the insert down towards that sewers. Her taking down 2, she did her job. Then going down into the fight towards middle, we went back and forth in that scenario there. It's just unfortunate because Sen Otter had more players to trade off of, and Invert did an incredible job just baiting those 2 players to focus on them so that Badison could come out from the sewers, and then teammates could rotate from the B side to have a 3-on-2 on middle in the end. Another one of those scenarios and situations where C9 are just a little bit off position after all the trades, and an opening is there for Sen Otter to take for the round.
Welcome to my world.
A lot of good opener opportunities for Sari. Positive every time. And can you stay positive here? Invert always landing these shots, knowing they needed to step it up. And so they have. The Sen Otters have their duelist anchored towards spawn. You have Avery by themselves with the spike. Big greedy moment, but hiding. Sari not expecting it. Sen Otters another round where it feels like all the kills just come to them.
Yeah, walking into ops for the last 2 rounds as well, and then even throwing this deadlock wall on the A side, not being shot, yet we still want to walk down towards middle and give up the pit. Yet somehow there's an over-rotate from Sen Otter towards this B site. Gia and Uni are actually there. When a site hit actually does happen, the net's available, you have sonic sensors, you can do some damage here.
Let's see what Madison can do to open things up.
Player
And
standing.
was 1 for 1. Not too bad. See what damage Uni could do, but at 0 credits, it's really worse for Uni to die in that situation. But we have ourselves a tie game. It wouldn't be a C9 SOTR series if we didn't have a tie at some point, forcing now a timeout for C9.
Yeah. SOTR is getting value out of their timeouts, rather. Now it's time for C9 to do the same, just cleaning up the micro. Like I said, the 4 versus 2, or the 2 versus 4 scenario from C9 on that B-side hit, definitely doable. Just they weren't playing with each other here and both watching different angles and just isolated themselves on different spots, walking into crosshairs where Oasis has done some good damage on lurks to be able to punish that. Walking into the operators of the invert. Those are all freebies given away here from C9 on to SOTRs. What has been a pain point for SOTRs on the attack was when they actually were trying to go for execs, when they're actually trying to go for map control, they were just getting instantly punished by C9. And I think you could go back to that style. I think the way that you're trying to be more reactive on the first 2 maps on a defense, it makes sense because there's such big maps. You know, Summit being very hard to rotate across, Lotus having 3 sites to deal with. This time for Split, though, the rotates are much faster, and if you want to be a little bit more reactive, you could be a little bit more passive. Not too passive, but you definitely have a chance here to force your opponents to really get into your crosshairs because of elevations and how quick you can rotate across the map as well on Split.
I'm hoping for an aggressive round for SOTRs. You have 2 agents that have a second life. So you see if May and Battison get activated here. But the ball is in their court, and they do like to wait the first 10 seconds to see if C9 have any shenanigans going. Especially when they're desperate, you never know.
It makes sense for them to hold spawn anyways here for SOTR because of how fast C9 have been antsy of walking into the crosshairs of the operator. This time you see the minute mark, you're trying to make a play. First Prowler came out, second Prowler is also fine for them to waste if they want to, because you still have that run it back to be the main entry and site information taker on to Battison. So all of them grouping up here with the wall being thrown on middle. I would like to see a little bit more proactiveness. Why are we still jiggling into B main when you already have a one-way being thrown by Gia that's spotting feet? So please move over on the A side and stack up here. And finally,
Joke's over.
Uni's doing so.
Careful now.
All the smokes down. SOTRs, the ball is in their court. Oh, insert and a catch. And Lily resets Battison. May is reset too. And Marceline lets it rain. And SOTRs are put to a full stop. It's up to Battison with the second life, a second opportunity, and maybe what Oasis can do with the high ground, but Marceline knows that was a gap left behind on purpose, but that lapse gives Battison a chance. Marceline has to ace to save C9, 7 seconds. SOTRs that have to plant. Marceline will get out and was baited by Oasis. No ace for you.
And she was just trying to go for the jiggle and hide back through the fast lanes. Good on Oasis to be very quick to spray down with the Phantom to save that round for SOTR. Because, man, did that not look good for the SOTR's hit towards that A site. This was a lower buy that we had for C9 that almost converted. And like you said, they needed 2, basically 7 lives to win that round for SOTR. That was just thanks to the rotate from Uni with the Grav Net 2 to give tremendous value onto the lockdown of the 2 players over on the A side. SOTR were waiting a little bit too long there until they actually decide to hit towards the A site. But thanks again to Oasis on the 1v1. Keeping the dream alive for SOTRs here. Lead ahead in this first half. Another stall because of the one-ways being thrown earlier on by Gia down towards Ramen.
There's psychological warfare between 2 ops, whether it's Marceline and Vents to ramps, SOTR's trying to avoid that. Although Invert has looked so good ever since picking up that sniper. Oasis just has to kind of bide their time using the wall and just being a pillar of information. So we'll see how SOTR's, when they're going to pull the Nightfall. You gotta know that the sonic sensors have been around here before. The barrier's been dealt with, so SOTRs see see how they want to either infiltrate into vents or get into Sari's face.
your
And
fear.
Madison goes in alone. The Nightfall's invested, but no one's taking into Mail. You're also stopped at
30 seconds
Garage,
left.
so Sen Otters have really lost their chance to fully utilize the Nightfall. Cut off opportunity though, and May just goes in solo, goes 1-for-1. Here are the trades for Sen Otters to get some traction. Marceline with the window, trying to thread the needle with the op. Here's
10
the
seconds
defensive
left.
Nightfall,
Last
and
player
this should be C9
Spike down,
confirming
B.
this. But Oasis has such a good position, but not
No time,
the spike. And now no time as C9 head to the corners and away from the kills. As Marceline just gets the last laugh anyways. We have a tie game.
Yeah, not too
Listen
sure what was
up.
happening there
Kill
for
them
Madison
before they
going
kill
into
us.
Mail. Because I like that they utilized the Blaze Wall to break at least a Sonic sensor on top middle, because that has been a pain point for them to deal with. So that's a great opener. But then I think we're missing a little bit of a curveball to get into Mail for Madison to move through. So became free kills on that side, made it very difficult for Sen Otter to split into the B site. And like you said, a little bit not coordinated to try to entry towards that side. May moves in alone. And yeah, no trades to instantly come out of that one. And C9 just had more numbers in the end.
This is already a different style, right? Because you don't have May on an Omen, bit of a different composition. You're going to map 3. Are you still resilient enough to go all the way, Sen Otters? Because you started off our series having to do this big comeback. Now, this is the Sen Otters comeback that we've been really excited to see. That 4-1 start from C9 is evaporated. And we have some lobby issues, so we'll sort that out here in a second. But there's also only one op left in this picture. And for the C9 defense, that's really changed just how much movement we can see out of Oasis on the right side lurk.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be an important round for C9, a very expensive round at it. Actually important and expensive for both teams. I think right now this forces a half buy, broken buy for round number 12. Whoever loses this one here, especially with Uni, 2,300 credits left, and hasn't even gone into purchasing a shield yet, so won't be able to go for a buy. Needs a drop probably from Lele, which will be, or sorry, Lily, which would be Guardian, Bulldog, anything to help out. But to think about the scenario, the fact that somehow Lemon Kiwi, this is still a 5-5 scoreline with not too much fragging going across the board here for Sen Otters, and it still make it work. And I think it's all thanks to Invert having huge impact frags previously with the operator on attack side, and also onto Oasis's punishments that C9 were trying to do on defense. That costed C9 3 rounds.
And also Marceline going toe-to-toe against Invert, where there was a battle of 2 ops in mid, and then Sen Otters forced C9 to have to adapt to that, to have their op somewhere a bit safer, somewhere that it can be recovered, and then kind of relying more on Uni, Sari to hold Mail, which has been an important power position that Sen Otters haven't been easily able to take, and they kind of stagger in and haven't been fully synced. So both teams have 1 timeout each, and with only 2 rounds left in the half, you would think you'd want to definitely save it for the second half.
Yeah, I respect that too, because it has been going back and forth. Both teams finding good value off their timeouts as well. No need to really waste it on how it finishes here. Would be more impressed for this to finish on a 6-6 half, because you wouldn't want it any other way to see who's going to be moving forward to the main event between C9 and Sen Otters, and who unfortunately will be going home.
A lot on Gia to hold back this storm. Invert isn't that fast and loose type of Neon that sonic sensor may not be enough to protect Gia, but being behind cover is always nice. Uni is not going to be forward enough to catch anyone crossing in, so free orb for Sen Otters.
See here from what they were waiting with Gia's paranoia is just the jiggles coming out from Uni. And then as that happens, you're just waiting for the smokes to come back up. So now you could recycle one-way smokes back into the lane. But I don't like that Uni is staying here towards that B side. I'd like to see her rotate back to help out on the mid control here. Because now Oasis is doing a nice job to keep 2 players anchored up on the A side. Wick gives up mid control, which gives a chance now for SOTR to take B heaven.
Thinking there's going to be a split from SOTRs, but
30
they
seconds
just
left.
completely overwhelmed Sari. At least she gives up the position. You still have all 5 intact here from C9. Now lurking in the smoke. Sari wants to find her moment, and it's now or never. Picks up 2 and can make it 4! And descends upon SOTRs to give C9 the lead.
Last round before
When
the
I talked
switch.
about not enough rotates coming in from Uni to help on the top of B heaven, it comes down to Sari again. As she gets pressured on that B side hit, she's getting hit by the relay bolt, gives up the position on B heaven, and instantly goes down back towards the
Sound
defender
sensor out.
spawn to just help the team to flood back 3 players on the B side and set up the trades. And she manages to flick left and right for a 4-piece.
Sound sensor
Put
out.
C9 back in the lead in this first half. Very nicely done. Now the operator back in hand on the A side, and SOTR are looking for a Hail Mary hit into the A site.
I have the spike.
Full investment from SOTRs. Just go into A, but how they do
Back up.
be different as Marceline first pick with the op is gonna set SOTRs behind as May wants to be in the forefront of this with the second life as Madison won't be able to use theirs. Not a surprise,
down
but
A.
all that matters is how it all breaks down. 2 versus 2, and the spike is covered by the pit. May will be back
I
to
have the
work
spike.
with Oasis. And all Sari has to do is hide away. As May will not be able to search
One
for
enemy
this
remaining.
kill in time. And it's all up to Oasis to salvage this for SOTRs.
This is huge right now, though, for May to move forward, because that space given away in Oasis now could play pit inside of their own, or sorry, inside of the post plant. The tides have turned here, despite this being a 2 versus
30
1 for
seconds
C9.
left.
That's how they stagger in. Ooh, Chia with a really clean shot there, because you would have just desynced there. That's a real 1v2
Switching
opportunity
sides.
for Oasis. And now it's a real opportunity for C9 to go all the way, depending on if they can get another pistol under their belt. Only up by 2, but can they create more of a gap between themselves and SOTRs?
Yeah, we're expecting a 6-6, but nice here for C9 to maintain a lead and now widening the gap. Marceline looking from her position and also the buy that she has would be nice to see a little bit of a support for her to run it down. But Gia has this paranoia ready. I'm not too sure if they're going to try to go for a fast B heaven play so that the other 2 could slow walk it to B main. This is going to be potentially a fast hit to try to punish that.
See how SOTRs want to absorb this. Oh, Marceline wasting no time. Frenzy in hand. Frenzy playstyle. Immediately infiltrating into Mail, but 20 HP and is pushed off from the Madison Molly. Distraction enough for the rest of C9 to flood in through Garage. And invert back against the wall. Try and get at least 1 for the road. And how are the bullets just giving that agent a haircut?
Home and killed.
I'm mad for them, but Avery, 1v2. Now they're mad. Sari and Lily, share of 2. Not gonna be able to stop the plant, but it was not fully committed.
Huge chance for Avery
Spike
now.
planted.
Because now you're splitting the post plant position. Lily's one-shottable.
Oh, just spotted on the other side of the box.
One enemy
And
remaining.
now for sure. And at 1 shot.
I'll find you.
Where's that last person? That'll reveal it. Avery. Oh, she clutches a 1v2 against Sari. And SOTRs will take the pistol. Now
Clutch.
this game is going the distance.
Not even.
This is going to mean a lot too for Avery because they lost their 1v1 against Gia in their first pistol. And this time in a 1v2 because of bad positioning for C9 in the post plant. It's going to give them momentum back for SOTR. Now, like I said, I mean, they for C9, they tried to go for the tap bait once again, just like it was Summit all over again. But you're not trying to play off each other once one is actually committed into the plant. Gave 2 individual 1v1s, and you're playing against Avery. And Avery has been a veteran in the scene since the inception of Game Changers. They're not going to let that go unpunished.
Valor into garage. One step at a time. May, front, forward, Judge. What kind of havoc can you produce? And it's an absolute hemorrhage. And going in for more. But kind of in the midst of the smoke. It got a little dicey, but the impact felt from May. A huge buy. Gives Sen Otters a pretty commanding anti-ego.
Yeah, May just want to show if this round, if this series finishes in favor of SOTR and you're hitting tab and you're looking at the scoreboard, that she actually had more kills going into the game. She was just running it down with the Judge, trying to get the last kill, running through a snake bite while being full vulnerable.
There we go. I said it's, these two teams have traded leads back and forth, and it's not going to be a clean series to get to playoffs, but all they need is the opportunity to prove themselves, to get into GC, and for most of the players in this lobby, they've all gone to playoffs at some point. And for one of these rosters, they stuck together since kickoff, the other piecing together new additions. See if they can get the upgrades they need to push through another breakthrough. And now it's C9 trying to break through garage.
Where are you?
And invert with a Guardian to watch this. And another May Judge special. Surely they don't fall for this again. Oh, just a tag to scare them a little. To take them into May's crosshair. Continuing to check this. I'm surprised May is sitting in this smoke. This is really, really greedy. But that's kind of the name of the game for someone like May. Just a bit of damage and back to square one.
Here.
Well, if this is going to be the name of how you play it anyways, I think it's fine for you to play this with the Judge.
Trying to catch it, trying to change it up, but sliding into the action invert just goes 1 for 1. Numbers for this attack, and May just didn't have the right moment. Right gun out, and nice to at least get 1 kill with the range. This is a nice adjustment from Uni.
1 enemy remaining.
But a better adjustment from Gia to be teleporting to the high ground and dealing with anyone from Sen Otters coming in through mail, or through heaven. Kind of a, I would say an uphill battle for Avery, but more of a downhill one. Is C9 looking to confirm this lead? Nothing. No one is facing this music. No one is wanting to face Avery head on. And C9 take the lead.
Yeah, good shutdown though from C9 on the bonus round for Sen Otters. This became a nice little quick hit towards the end. And a slide tackle from Marceline, just too much to deal with. When I talked about here, the first half where 3 rounds were actually given away by C9 that Sen Otters was able to take advantage of. It's now looking like Sen Otters are actually very much warmed up going into the second half. Even though they're trailing behind by 1, you're starting to see here through the kill distribution that there is a lot more comfort for these players on defense, so it could be dangerous here for C9 as they yet continue to work this 4-1 split.
May can still be aggressive and continue to look directly into the sun when you have the ult.
My ult is ready.
You know that C9 have been playing as the stack, an aggressive one at that. An orb given, C9 kind of playing with their food, and Sen Otters just wait without shooting a shot until now. Now C9 will get to work the map more after grabbing that orb.
There should be a run back cut noise, especially because the Nightfall was picked up by Lily in the first place. So they tried to fast lane and haunt to fake the B pressure, and then it doesn't matter. You just continue to ult once again in the second round back into the B site. It'll end up being a good
your fear!
that kill from Siri.
I'm out of here.
Nightfall right through was invert. It's gonna try to punish. Even with the smoke isolation, Marceline and Uni just find their way around. They find their way through the defense. And it's Avery in a 1v4, so C9 going the distance after losing their map pick, yet ever so closer to that match point, especially where the credits are now for Sen Otters. This is getting into very dangerous territory for them.
It's a nice side exec as well for C9. The Nightfall, I don't think pinged anybody but you still made sure that whatever lanes was not being covered by the Nightfall still had util to follow up with. So Lily had the C's. It actually hits the player towards the back of the site, renders them mute where they can't really get too much value in terms of noise to listen to, and then also losing HP instantly loses the fight on the 1v1 from Marceline jumping outside of that smoke for that pick. Again, I think with the whole cut noise type of play, the fact that SOTR actually peeked out onto the A ramp to start, unfortunately really punished them hard, which allowed here for C9 to have a little bit of a window to execute towards that B site, because some players from SOTR felt like they had to rotate out to help out on the spot that they lost against Siri in the first place over on the A ramp.
Final time to talk to the coach for SOTR. We're out of timeouts now. Don't have the best of options in terms of ults, just Mei. And they haven't really been fighting for the B garage orb. Don't think too much aggression at A as well. So really it's up to C9 how they want to run the game. And you don't have a lot of credits on the SOTR side. So this could be C9 going to double digits. And depending on how this next cycle of ult works, I'll have Annihilation. We'll have a Marceline overdrive. There's so much at disposal here very soon from C9.
Saw a lot of pings happening too before we got into the timeout for the side of SOTR. I'm not too sure if they're going to try to go for any type of trap plays in their lower buy, or if this is going to be drafted up in the next round. So far with the split that we currently have, maybe it's to try to stall over on the A side a bit, because Avery has invested into a hero vandal this round while the rest of them are at shares, which is an interesting look. I mean, they have enough credits to buy the next round too, but we're gonna try to hold your ground here on the A ramp.
No charges.
Addison already forcing some movement. You just want to get your one taps. GC sheriffs can go crazy. Hero vandal for Avery.
Bring them
Full
down.
chance to spam through. Prowler should mark how close C9 are. No eyes onto ramps. You're just hoping to cut them off before getting there. Now SOTR don't have anyone on the high ground, unless Invert wants to make their way through there. Nope. That Haunt does let Invert climb back to that high ground, but C9 only care about what's within the site, and a few chances for Battison. Still goes 1 for 1. And C9
Gotta go.
probably had their cage rattled, considering most of SOTR's had sheriffs.
Good news though is that they only lost a Spectre in the chaos of the backstabs on the A ramp, so not the best of weapons to still retake with for SOTR.
2 in screens.
No peeking.
Hey, we'll have another chance at lighter too if they want to just go out and bait. Now just the immediate reset. Gia is on a rampage. Kills Mei twice. No time to shoot bodies. It's just time to lock in. Try to cash your ticket to playoffs. The C9 still have all 3 rifles still left and double digits, but still for most of SOTR's having sheriffs and 1 hero vandal.
Bye-bye. My ult's ready.
Decent enough damage, and even better to get a 3rd one.
And allow Invert, no matter what, to get the overdrive into the next round. But it's nice here, again, in terms of how C9 are currently executing into the sites, even though, you know, you haven't forced any rotates out for that previous round, they still had good utility to flush players out from understanding where the shots are coming from, the audio being heard. The GravNet actually did hit, but I guess through the chaos, the communication wasn't there that somebody was playing towards King/Benji Fishy. Thankfully, those shots weren't hitting too well there for Battison that allowed for C9 to really still take over the A site. Now this is the important round. After the timeout, rifles available for SOTR. And Battison's 1 away from an ult, but they're not playing towards extremity control here. They're playing Battison solo on middle. Try to contest the Viper Orb.
Speaking of someone that can take over, I mean, Marceline has been MVP on the first 2 maps. Has the ult. Information within the site here from Gia. They get a chance to spot Oasis. Not sure, but Uni has all the bases covered, and kills just kind of are gifted to C9. Barely moved out of spawn now. The decision's made for them. They surge onto the site. It's free for the taking. You have Sari exploring the rest of the map. Maybe could be coming up behind Sen Otters. And now it's just Avery and Invert.
Do we have the same strats on both sides with these teams?
One enemy remaining.
That's tough.
So why are we seeing similar things where people are just walking into crosshairs at this point? The Omen ult going into B main, spots where Oasis is trying to hide, which I was gonna say, well, this is gonna be crazy for Oasis if they stay towards the back of the billboard, because there's gonna be so much util that does not and will not allow for them to fall back into the B site. Yet two players are walking down like this, down towards Robin, and they just simply get ADS down by Uni. Manages to get a triple kill into the round, breaking the economy one more time for Sen Otters. Right now, C9 in prime position to put themselves at map and series point when there's no timeouts to work with for the side of Sen Otters. This is huge right now for them.
I mean, it's kind of crazy how we got dealt the Uno reverse card. We said this map set was favoring Sen Otters, and then they take Lotus, lose their map pick, and this is how Split is breaking down, which has been the #1 map pick for Sen Otters this Swiss stage. You can tell that the pressure's really getting to them. And we'll see if C9 will just be gifted another round, but now Sen Otters just try to hold the wall, hold the line. GC Sheriff's getting desperate. Madison opens it up, and even while C9 are concussed, they bring out the Annihilation and the Prowler. Sen Otters are now down 2.
They could just play power numbers to execute towards this B site, should they want to. But the close smoke, they're gonna have to wait that 13.75 seconds. Marceline's still gonna try to duel it as a showdown when it dissipates.
Go, go, go!
Oh, with the speed of Marceline, how can you keep up? C9 are just this army that marched down. But this was also a bunch of sheriffs from Sen Otters. But now you have to play perfect from here on out. And it's a 5-round win streak for C9, winning every single one ever since the pistol. And Sen Otters haven't won a rifle round. They've only won the pistol and the anti-eco, and that's about it. And Madison still is the running back. You have the Nightfall, you have tools, but you have to string up a lot of rounds and try to pull this off if you're Sen Otters.
Bailey and Marceline are about to do the summit play, so trying to bait out ultis and A site. Re-hit towards his B site. Somehow Marceline still gets a kill. What?
You didn't have time to pull out the Nightfall. Marceline is just one step ahead. The Sen Otters now have to reach their true ramp and try to push as Madison activated the running back to at least get that information. But meanwhile, C9, it was all a ruse. They've activated a B, they've planned it, they've pitted. And this could be the end of Sen Otters and their chances of getting into GCC.
Careful now.
As May will at least temper the aggression here of C9 coming through the high ground. You got Gia, who just pushes back against the wave of Sen Otters, who find themselves underwater and drowning unless Oasis will give them a swinging chance. 2 versus 3 though, and the spike ticking down. It's now or never. You walk into a crossfire, and Oasis in trouble with no raft coming to rescue them. And that is it for Sen Otters. Cloud9 will advance to the main event.